So, I recently completed the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and as of now, that is all the Ace Attorney that I could possibly play. Unless you count the crossover, but I want to play Professor Layton before I get to that, and it's going to be a while before I do that, so it doesn't count. So today, I think it's time for a bit of an update. It's been over a year since my original tier list video, which is crazy. I can't believe that it's been that long. And a lot of my opinions have changed since then. So today, we are going to basically be looking over my original tier lists. I have them all right here. Characters, cases, soundtracks, and games. Games is blank right now. You'll see why in the future. So we're going to look through them, and we're going to see what has changed, readjust some things. I'm sure there are a few things that have changed since then. And then, we're going to add the Great Ace Attorney stuff into the mix, because I have them under my belt now. Now, I'm going to try and repeat myself as few times as possible in this video, which means if there's something that you feel like I skimmed over, I probably mentioned it in the original video. So, I know that video is a little dated at this point, the mic quality is terrible, the edits could be better, but I suggest you go watch that video if you want to get the full experience here. And just like in that original video, spoiler warning. Giant, massive, just the biggest spoiler warning you could ever imagine. For every single Ace Attorney game. Except for the crossover, I guess. So, you've either played them all, or I don't want you around here, or you don't care about spoilers. I don't know, I don't control your life, but yeah. Be careful. I appreciate you for stopping by if you want to watch my videos, but if you're going to get spoiled and you care about that, then get the fuck out of here, dude. I don't know what to tell you. I think that's all I wanted to say in the intro, so let's get started. Now, before we really get into the characters here, I just need to mention, this is a different tier list maker than the original one that I made. It's basically a more slimmed down version. It cuts all the bullshit. There's no victims, there's no animals except for these two for some reason. But yeah, it's a lot more slimmed down, which means there's less bullshit. So yes, in case you noticed, this is a little bit different, but it's mostly the same, so we're just going to continue on. So starting out with F tier, we see Mo is here, and I don't think he deserves that, I'm going to be honest. Honestly, I'd say Mo is like B tier. Honestly. I think I was focused too much on how annoying he was, like in the first half of Turnabout Big Top. But recently, I mean, I've been streaming Ace Attorney with my buddy Trident Fool. He's been playing through the games, and we've been replaying Turnabout Big Top, and it's made me realize Mo is funnier than I gave him credit for. Now, part of the reason for me thinking he's funnier is probably because Trident Fool gave him Society Joker's voice. But still, regardless, he still says more funny stuff than I gave him credit for, and in the second half of the case, he kind of becomes a Chad, so I didn't give Mo enough credit. Definitely not F tier, not even D or C tier, I'd even say he's B. As to where in B, he's like around here, I'd say. I'll do more reorganization. This is going to be a nightmare to reorganize B tier in particular, because there's just so much in B tier. I'll just put him there for now. Max Galactica, I'll put you in D, because you're kind of cool, I guess. I mean, the country voice is pretty funny, but overall, he is just kind of an asshole, huh? And he does try and marry a 16-year-old, and I still just think that's repulsive. But he's not like garbage, you know what I'm saying? So I'll make him D tier. I still hate his design, but it's whatever. Kristoff still gets F tier, and regardless of how many comments I got on this man in particular, I got several comments about Kristoff, and I am not changing my stance. He is still a terrible villain in my opinion. His motivation doesn't make any sense. It's complete bullshit. I can't get behind Kristoff, guys. You really tried. A lot of the arguments that I saw in the comments for Kristoff was actually basically relying on, like, speculation, which I don't know, man. I think that's pretty telling that the Kristoff fans have to rely on speculation just to make the character good, because he's not good to begin with. You're not F tier. I don't remember your name, but no. He's like Stickben, right? Wait, no, I'm looking this up. Weasley Stickler. I was close. Stickler. Stickman. Henry Stickman. Here he is, guys. But I wouldn't say he's F tier. I don't know why I made him F tier. I think it's just me being mad at Apollo Justice, to be honest. I'll put him in C because I think C is kind of the home of the gimmick characters. It doesn't really look like that right now, to be honest, but by the end of this, I want to kind of make C tier just the home of the gimmick characters. That's the end goal here, so Stickler fits right in. I almost forgot his name immediately again. Turner Gray isn't that bad. He's cool, actually. I'd say he's like B tier. I mean, well, yeah, I guess he is pretty annoying, but like, I don't know. You know, we never did learn if he actually did poison Eeny Miny, or Mimi Miny, whatever you want to say. And I do think that's kind of... I feel like my opinion would change depending on if the answer is yes or no to that question. But, I mean, who's to say, honestly? I'd say, actually, no. You get C tier, because I don't know if you actually poisoned Mimi or not. And you're a little annoying, so... Gene Armstrong is B tier. Actually, I'd say he's a lot like Mo, to be honest. And I think I remember this, too. I just kind of said how he scared me. And while that's still true, I don't think I gave him enough credit. He's still a cool, decent character, you know. He gets blackmailed. He does his thing. C or B? I think B might actually be too generous. I think he'll get C. Put like right here. Because, yeah, he's not that bad. I do hate his design. He does scare me just a little bit. And I think that's it. I'm pretty sure I hate everyone else in here. Yep, I hate everyone else in this F tier. I saw a lot of, well, not a lot of, but I don't think there were actually any in my comments, but I have seen people praising Spark Brushel, and I just don't understand that, I'm gonna be honest. It's a lot like Kristoff, actually. There are people who, like, theory craft and speculate about this character, and that's what makes him cool. And I'm like, dude, I'm only going to take into consideration what the game puts in front of me. And what the game puts in front of me is that this guy fucking sucks. So, yeah. Moving on to D tier. I'll Be Your Guide is another gimmick character, so he goes in fucking C tier. He's not D. I don't know why I gave him D, to be honest. I think what I've been noticing is that a lot of my characters that I put like in lower tiers or whatever, I've just autopiloted. I just completely did not actually think about them. I'll Be Your Guide. He's just a kid. He's cool. He does his thing. C tier. Get Plume. That's just a really boring character. There's like legitimately nothing special about DePlume, huh? Actually, yeah, I will keep her in D. DePlume. There's nothing special about her. She's an author, right? Yeah, I don't care. I definitely, Salmonella gets a little bit lower on the D tier. Again, you get a little bit lower. Your name is literally Raw Chicken. I cannot give you that much credit. Yeah, this D tier seems to just really be characters that I just could not bother to remember their personalities. So I just dropped them. Like, you know who I do like, actually? I like Ben. We've been doing it on stream. I've really been enjoying voicing the character. You know what? He's pretty funny. I like Ben. He's pretty funny, to be honest. Ben has really grown on me, to be honest. Actually, he'll get like high C. He'll get a really high C tier. Because he is still just a gimmick. Kind of annoying sometimes. But you know what? Funnier than I gave him credit for. A lot like Mo. Drew Misham. I'll just put him with his daughter. I mean, yeah, I'll just put him with his daughter. Like, the Mishams are like the only cool Apollo Justice characters, to be honest. I mean, unless you count like characters that were returning, that showed up in future games, like Clavier, Apollo, Trucy. They got multiple games, so they're kind of cheating. But if we were talking like solely Apollo Justice, the Mishams definitely reign supreme in terms of being good characters. And they're still only B because Apollo Justice sucks. I'm thinking about these two, right? Because they are still both assholes. I do hate both of them a lot. Zach Grammary, hey, I remembered it from the first video. It's still Grammary. So yeah, that's character development, guys. But Zach Grammary, you know, he's just an asshole. So is his mother. I still cannot fucking believe that she, at the end of Spirit of Justice, she's like, should I tell them? I don't know, not yet. Are you fucking serious? Tell your kids that you're alive, dipshit. I'm still mad about that. I don't think I can give them any less than D. Rafa. Oh, little Rafa. Or Rafiki? I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I don't like this character. I am gonna be giving I plan on giving Spirit of Justice more praise than I did in the original video, but I just can't get behind Rafa. I don't care about her. She's just a brat. And then she's not a brat, like at the very end. But I don't care. She just sucks. The only reason she gets C tier is because she's a main character. Otherwise, if she just showed up in one case and did her little thing, she'd be like F, probably. I don't like Rafa. And as I said in my original video, Sebastian did what she did, but good? So, sorry, Rafa. I just can't get behind you. You're staying in C tier. I'll give you the top of C tier because, you know, you do your little thing, but I don't know, man. I don't like you. What the fuck is Bucky Wheat doing here? Or Bucky Wet? I don't know. This character's... No. I'd go as far as... Yeah, he's getting D. I don't know what he's doing at the top of C even. He's right next to Rafa. That's not right. I don't hate Rafa that much. Jesus Christ. This guy's just drunk or something. I don't know. Not a nothing character. Except for the fact that he throws up, I guess. I don't know. Why did I give him C tier? I don't know what's up with that. Ooh, I don't remember her name, but I'm gonna be honest, I actually like this character. She's cool. Just like good basic villain, you know? I actually remember. I called this guy a basic villain, and I'd say these two are very similar. I'd say he's better. He has a better motivation, but these two are pretty similar, honestly. They're just good villains. Like, they're not bad. They just do their purpose, and honestly, I respect it. For being very stereotypical cases, stereotypical villains, good designs, I dig it, dude. I don't remember her name, though. Tarust and Balib, I think it's called. They're just good people, to be honest. And, like, just generally good people, I'd say they get B tier. I'd say that's, like, in the middle here, right? That's basically what I did here. Just generally good guys and gals. They get B tier. They didn't do nothing wrong, except for the fact that they did, but they get away with it, I guess. It was an accident, but, you know, they're cool. I don't have a giant problem with them. Goran, I'll put her right next to her daughter, actually, because it's a lot like Rafa. I just kind of didn't care. I just kind of really didn't care. And I don't know, man. I feel like I was autopiloting Spirit of Justice. I just really did not care about Goran. And, like, I know it's like, oh, we're taking down the queen. That's fucking awesome, right? Like, I think about it objectively, right? And objectively, Goran's awesome. But I think about it, and I'm like, I didn't really care. So, I don't know, man. Here, Igna too. The whole family together here. The trio that I should care about, but I just really don't. Goran has a good design, though. When she fucking takes off all the stuff and just turns into fucking Maleficent, that's pretty sick. But as a villain, she's whatever. I'd say some characters that we're going to be talking about in the future. Where is he? Do her job just a little bit better, and I think that's why my opinion of her is a little bit lower. She's just average, and there are characters that do her job better, so she stays in C tier. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Hold it! Hey guys, Editor King Crew here to introduce a new segment called Editor's Notes. In this segment, I'm basically going to be elaborating on some of the things that I feel like I forgot to mention in the original recording that I noticed while I was editing this video. The reason I'm doing this is mostly because I want this video to be as comprehensive as it could possibly be, so this segment allows me to basically say everything that I feel like needs to be said. So to start off, I think Goran at least deserves B tier. I still don't think she's spectacular or is really that special, but she serves her purpose as a large, intimidating villain pretty well. She's definitely a pretty obvious and stereotypical villain, but as I said a few minutes earlier in this video, I can respect a villain that just gets the job done. I'll be moving her up the tier list at the end of the character segment. This feels like a nothing character to me, but he cares about his daughter, and you know what? I respect a good dad, so you guys get B tier. I'm gonna put you with these other two. I respect a good dad, so he at least has that going for him. I think the thing that I don't like about him is his design. Wearing all this shit on his head, he looks really stupid. He looks really fucking stupid. And I know that's the point, that's the joke, but almost at no point does he actually take it off for almost the whole case. That shit stays on, and that's annoying. I don't like looking at his face, and I think that's what lowers my opinion of him. But he is a good dad, so I gotta respect that. He's also the amazing Ninetales, which is probably the coolest twist from the Monstrous Turnabout, so that's pretty cool. Gimmick character, gimmick character, gimmick character. Not a gimmick character, but just kind of boring. I'd say right around here with the label. Just kind of, yeah, she's a villain. It was kind of sick when she brought up the Mafia, and then Gumshoe was like, came through and was a Chad for the first time. Not the last time, though, definitely not the last time. But, yeah, he just kind of, Vasquez kind of just did her thing, you know? I know my friend Trident Fool fucking hated this character. He thought she was a terrible villain, which I don't agree with that. She's just kind of whatever. But she's not my favorite. Speaking of which, where's Red White? What are you doing in B tier? Get down here, boy. These are the trio of just kind of average villains. And these two are incredibly similar in my opinion. I think it's because they're both wearing the purple, you know? Actually, no, that's pink. Okay. Still, they got like that light fucking purplish, pinkish, magenta even suit. They remind me of each other. Decent villain. I'll put her right next to this one. Decent villain. The only good villain, actually, in Apollo Justice. Attila Taquito. I already made that joke, but it's like a reference to the original video. Yeah, these two are very similar in my opinion. You know, the archetype of, oh, I'm just an innocent little lady. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's an archetype that's been done 1,000 times, but it works. So I can at least give her that. B tier. Wendy Oldbag and Meekins are like, I'll put them right next. Actually, yeah, here's a good spot for them. Right at like the bottom of B tier, we have like the annoying characters, but we know that they're annoying and we kind of love them for it. I'll still hold my stance that Victor Kudo is better than Wendy Oldbag. I think he's way funnier. I think he's just a better written character. Victor Kudo's better in my opinion. Wendy Oldbag, funnier than I gave her credit for in the original video. Mike Beacon's funnier than I gave him credit for in the original video. So they get B tier. I think Wendy Oldbag comes back many times in the games. I don't know why she won't leave me alone, but she's cool. I almost wanted to cry when she showed up in Case 5 Investigations 1 because that was the second time in the same game. But I think that's the point. They knew what they were doing, and I gotta respect that. Regina, the 16-year-old that could. Jesus Christ. Nah, she gets lower C tier. She gets lower C tier because she... Honestly, out of every character in Turnabout Big Top, I think Regina is the most annoying. And that is a prestigious award, because you have Max Galactica, you have actually, I did put Galactica lower. But I still hold my stance on that. We have Galactica, we have Ben, we have Mo. Regina trounces all. She's so fucking annoying. But she does have that little bit of character development at the end, and I think that's why she'll end up being higher than Galactica. Oh, I think this is about the time that I should mention this. See, now I said this tier list was more slimmed down. Yeah, well, they still have these three for some reason. I understand this guy, because he was around for like 2 seconds. I don't know why these two are here, though. Oh, I guess it's because they talked at the beginning cutscene, maybe? I don't know where to put them. So, they get... Actually, where would I put them? You know what? I'll just put them next to their respective, like... parallels, I guess I'll say, because these two are secret agents, I believe. Secret Agent Man, Detective Man. I'll put you right next to Callisto, I guess? But, like, that doesn't make any sense, because he's not better. Because that would imply that he's a better character than everyone else, and that's just not correct. So, maybe I won't, actually. You know what? I'm just gonna take them off the tier list. This is confusing me for way too long, dude. I don't know where the fuck to put these guys. So I'm just gonna not. You kinda count, because you talked for 2 seconds. I'll put you next to Turner Gray, actually. I'll put you right next to Turner Gray, for the sake of things. But these two, I never talked to them, dude. I'm not ranking them. Where the fuck would I put them? Yeah, Ben, Russia, Boobs, Vegeta, Basic Bitch, Noodles, Another Country, Student, Dead. Von Karma, what are you doing down here in B tier, bro? I don't actually remember what I said about you. Actually, yeah, I do. I said you're nothing more than your stereotype, which is just not true. I think, to be honest, I don't know what he's doing down there in B tier, because honestly, Von Karma is S tier. He's fucking awesome. An incredibly intimidating villain. The first real, like, intimidating villain. Like, Von Karma was the building block that every other, like, intimidating-ass villain went from. It's all started with Von Karma, dude. This man was intimidating as hell the entire case, and getting him was so satisfying. So, I don't know why I ever said he was B tier. Definitely an S tier character, dude. Let's go Manfred Von Karma. Oh, I guess I'll put Yanni Yogi right next to these three. These are the sympathetic villains right here, the ones that I feel bad for. Acro, Marlon Rhymes, Yanni Yogi. I just feel bad for these motherfuckers, dude. I mean, you had a tiger, you had Regina, the bitchiest of bitches, kill your fucking brother. I would want to kill her too. I do not blame Acro for what he did. Obviously, murder is a bit of an extreme. I will not endorse that. Not a psychopath, I think. Marlon Rhymes and Yanni Yogi, same story. I just feel bad for them, and Marlon Rhymes is a pretty good twist. I think I mentioned that before. How they really lead you to believe that it's Dr. Crab. You don't know how complicated the DLC case is going to be. Marlon Rhymes is a big surprise, and I like that. Terry Falls, what are you doing down in B, bro? That is a solid A tier character. Such a tragic character, too. Jesus Christ. I don't think I mentioned this in my original, but it is basically confirmed that this man has autism, or something of that sort, and the fact that Dahlia takes advantage of that is fucking brutal, dude. Jesus Christ. Out of all of Dahlia's sins, and trust me, they are plentiful, I think her greatest sin was what she did to Terry Falls, because, oh my god, she made him kill himself. Took advantage of his mental disability and made him kill himself. Jesus fucking Christ. This game is not for kids. Detective Bad is another A tier. I don't know what he's doing in B, because Detective Bad is great. I'll put him, like, with the other, like, the investigation squad, you know? And I'll probably make some of these investigation squad a little bit higher, but I'll just leave this right now. Yeah, we'll leave it right now. But, yeah, Detective Bad goes with them, man. He's a good character. I don't really know how much I like him as a villain, because I don't hate this guy as much as I should, like I do like Dahlia or Simon or Bobby Fulbright. Like, I fucking hate these people for the right reasons, because they're good villains. You love to hate them. I do not love to hate Detective Bad at all. I mean, he's just kind of a good guy, and it's kind of a shame that he had to be part of the Yatagarasu, but I guess that's kind of part of the story. I mean, it's just unfortunate, but yeah, definitely an A tier character. He's good. Jake Marshall is another one that gets A tier, which is actually, to be honest, this is thanks to my replay through with Trident Full on stream, because this character really shined through for me. I mean, I didn't realize how good he was written. I mean, trying to avenge his brother, doing everything that I needed to do, I felt bad for him. He is very much like these ones. Maybe I'll make him high B. Actually, yeah. I'll give him high B tier with these ones. The sympathetic, I just feel bad, bro. You just wanted to find out the truth. You're a good guy. Jake Marshall is a good guy. These are two characters that I know I didn't talk about before, and that's kind of just because they do their thing. I do like this guy. I don't remember his name, but the fact that he's like really shut up at first, and then he starts to open up. Watching him open up is almost like watching a villain break down, you know? Like, it takes a lot of work, but it's worth it. It's good to watch it happen. Violetta is another tragic character. I mean, I think the anime portrays her in a really different light that kind of changed my opinion on her just a little bit. The fact that they implied that she's actually in love with Furio Tigre, and the fact that you have to expose the truth that he never really cared, how devastating that is to her, it's really sad. It's really fucking sad. I think I'll put her up with Terry Falls, to be honest, and Jeffrey Master, actually. The trio of just characters, it's just really sad what happened to them, dude. Violetta didn't ask for this life, Terry Falls didn't ask for this life, and Jeffrey Master certainly didn't ask for this life, so... It's sad, but they play it off pretty well, to be honest. I mean, Terry Falls is clearly a broken man, but Jeffrey Master and Violetta, they pull through. and I respect that. Robert Downey Jr. is another stereotypical villain, so I'll put him with the stereotypical villains, because he just kind of does his thing. Second case, very obvious villain. You know the drill at this point. I mean, I do like his theme a lot, though. When he pulls up the sleeves, that was sick. I enjoyed that. Nayuta. I'm kind of skipping some characters, but I just kind of remembered. Oh, man, Nayuta. Alright, guys, alright. You know what? I'll hear you guys out. Nayuta will get the A tier, okay? Okay? I know y'all really don't like what I had to say about Nayuta and Turnabout Revolution and yada yada yada. I get it, okay? You know what? Nayuta was pretty good. I still don't care about Garan and Reifa, to be honest, but I grouped Nayuta with them, and I think that's a little bit unfair. And I mean, I think I even realized that in the original because I put him higher, but you know what? He's good. I do think it takes a little bit too long for him to actually redeem himself. And I get it. That's the point. It's because he's being blackmailed. You have to go very far to get him to actually do it because he's under lock and key. But that doesn't change the fact that it still feels bad. Like, it feels like it takes too long. So when it finally does happen, that he takes the thing off and says a dragon never yields. Did I get goosebumps? Yes. But I think it took just a little bit too long. He is still good. Actually, maybe A tier is a little bit too much. You know what? I'll put him, like, right here. He's definitely better than Clavier, so I don't know why I never thought about it like that. He is definitely better than Clavier. No doubt in my mind about that. So, I think, yeah, you know, they got the same little hair thing going, so they get to be together. You are a stereotypical villain, so you can go with the other stereotypical villains. This is the third in a row where it's seemingly an innocent little lady, but it's not. But popping the balloon titties was really fucking funny. So no, she still gets a little bit lower. She's better than you, but I don't think she's better than you. Dedica Scones. I think she's in a good spot, to be honest. Like, Delica Scones is a perfect example of, like, a gimmick character that gets B tier because she's a good character on top of being a gimmick character, you know? She's more than just her gimmick. It's not just, oh, I'm a flight attendant, and that's it. Oh, I'm a student, and that's it. Oh, I'm a fucking Russian lady, and that's it. I'm a kid, and that's it. No. Characters like Delica Scones, they take that extra step, and that's why that's what separates B tier from C tier, in my opinion. Here.
Oh, poison!
I really like. Oh my God! Wait, her name is on the tip of my tongue. Sasha Buckler. Yeah, fun name to say. Good design. Fun little character. Only Sasha Buckler would ask you to defend a fucking whale, and I like that a lot. And then you want to defend her because at that point, you've grown to like her as a character. So yeah, Sasha Buckler, probably the best from DLC of Dual Destiny. She's great. Although Marlon Rhymes... Actually, yeah, it's probably Marlon Rhymes. Never mind. But she's second best. Yuri Cosmos is just a good man. I mean, honestly, we were drilling into him so much. It is not even funny how much we were fucking this dude up in the courtroom. And honestly, I thought he might be the villain. Like, we were like... I cannot overstate how much we were destroying this dude. But honestly, at the end of the day, he just wanted to protect his people, and that's respectable. Bunny girls, I got nothing to say about them. They are bunny girls. The whole twin thing is pretty cute, and I really like how she dances to her theme song. I would pay ungodly amounts of money to watch her have a dance-off with Giru and Eenie Meenie. Politician. It's funny because I actually did not pronounce his last name correct during the entirety of Spirit of Justice, and only when reading the name later in a list of pun names did I finally get it. It is Politician. Hilarious, but he's just kind of okay. I'd say he's like on the same level of like beginning villains, of like your Ted Tonates and your Frank Saweds. I'd say he's almost on that same level of just really obvious and stuff like that, but like the only reason he's a threat is because he kidnapped Maya, or assisted in it rather, so it's kind of weird, but I'd say overall he's just kind of as a villain. John Marsh, the son of this guy. Apparently, I don't see the resemblance, but apparently he is. He's kind of a brat. Oh, he does have that moment at the end, though. He does have that moment where he can kill Doggin, and he doesn't do it. That was pretty good. So, actually, yeah, I didn't think about that. He's pretty good, actually. I'd say I'll put him right next to her. Man, Investigations 2 is just so well written, man. Even like the basic characters, like John Marsh isn't exactly irrelevant, but just so many characters that in any other game would have just been nothing. And just have their moments, and it's great. It's so good. Oh, I don't remember your name, but you were like the previous queen or something like that. I find it weird that the tier list used this to represent her, and not, you know, the actual her, but, you know, honestly, I didn't really detect much personality from her. I mean, she cared about Dirk. She was trying to protect her sister because she cared about Dirk. And that was kind of it. She just kind of showed up. She felt more like a plot device than a character. Does that make sense? She kind of just moved the plot forward. Her own motivations weren't really they didn't really come into question as much. But at the same time, I feel like they might have. To be honest, my memory of Spirit of Justice is a little foggy, so forgive me. Alright, I think that's it for B tier. Let's go to A tier. I did actually notice something as I was recreating this tier list, and it's that we have Raymond Shields and Sebastian up here, but then Justine Courtney's down here. I think they all three of them belong together as just the Investigations 2, just A-team, man. I mean, they're all so good. You got Raymond Shields being a Giga Chad, you got Sebastian having the awesome redemption, and then she's just also like the female equivalent of a Giga Chad. I mean, she's great. The anti-gravity boobs are a little bit weird, but, you know, she does her thing, and I do like her gimmick a lot. It's just a fun gimmick, you know, good character design. The hair is a little bit weird, so you have a few weird things with her design, but it's really cool. I like her hammer. She has one of my favorite speech bubbles, honestly. Overrule! It's really good. But of course, other than that, you have a great character that just wants to protect her son, is just a good mom, she does her job. No secret ulterior motives here. She's just great. She's just awesome. Kay Faraday, I think, also gets S, to be honest. Francisca and Kay, I think, might get S tier, to be honest, guys. Okay, yeah, I think that's a good spot for Kay Faraday. Honestly, I was a little hesitant to give Kay Faraday that much praise, because I was just under the impression that people didn't like her that much, because Investigations won. But honestly, no, people like Kay Faraday, and I do too, so she gets S tier. Very funny character, very good character development, one of the better assistant characters. I mean, yeah, the assistants do pretty well for themselves, except for Trucy. We got Maya, we got Emma, we got Pearl, kind of, if you count that. Athena, again, if you count that. Kay, and of course, one that we'll get to in the future. The assistants do pretty good for themselves. Francisca, one of the most controversial characters in the entire series. I think I'm gonna bite the bullet. She's S tier, right next to Adrian Andrews for all those people that just love that ship, so you're welcome. Francisca's great, honestly. And you know, I hear a lot of people always say, oh, she should have gotten a redemption, she should have gotten a redemption. But you know what? No. Every other prosecutor's gotten their redemption. That's what makes Francisca different. She is very hard struck up, and she is very refusing to change. And you know what? I think that's something unique, and I like that. She's a good antagonist that doesn't exactly do anything wrong. I mean, she does, like, tamper with witnesses and stuff, but by that I mean she doesn't kill anybody. If we are to assume that Ace Attorney 7 is Athena getting her own game, then I think it would be really cool if they maybe made Francisca the main prosecutor again. I know that sounds sacrilege, giving a main prosecutor 2 games to herself, but to be fair, she did only have 2 cases to call her own in Justice for All, and the spotlight was kind of stolen from her by Edgeworth, again, so I don't think it's entirely out of the question to give her some time in the spotlight again. And the main reason I say this is because this could be their opportunity to finally give Francisca some closure here. Because who better to bring out Francisca's true emotions than the wielder of the mood matrix herself? Just food for thought. Larry is just a little bit too high for my comfort. Okay, yeah, let's move Larry to like. I think he'll stay in A, but he's like the bottom of A. Because he is a lot like Gumshoe, actually. He comes through when he needs to come through. in Case 5 of the third game, in Case 4 of the first game. Larry comes through when he needs to, but he's also Larry, so give him too much credit and he'll probably end up getting left by another woman. I don't know why Professor Means is this high when these three are lower than him. These three are clearly better than Professor Means. So as much as I like Professor Means, I mean, we got Juniper Woods, Robin Newman, and Hugh O'Connor. I remembered all their names. Let's go. These three are awesome. I loved these three. I love them all individually, and I love their dynamics. So these three are fantastic. We got Hugh just being the kind of older guy that just wants to fit in. Again, all three of them are kind of just oddballs, except for Juniper Woods, kind of. But we have these two oddballs that just want to fit in, and they just love their friendship with each other, and it's great. The cutscene where they go into the full motion, and then he starts crying, and they give him the ring. That was awesome. I don't know what the fuck Jay Elbert is doing all the way up here. He is just boxer guy with the bear. The bear is great, but it can only take you so far, buddy. I mean, yeah. Although I do like how he drives the plot forward with his escape. That is very good. He does his good stuff. But I'll just leave him right there for now. I'm gonna be honest, my opinion of these two has been getting better as time has passed. My opinion of their game has not gotten much better, but my opinion of Apollo and Trucy have gotten better. And it's honestly thanks to Spirit of Justice that I like both of these so much. I mean, you have Case 2. They made Trucy so good in Case 2. When she started crying, dude, and that music started playing, that is by far the best moment that Trucy has ever had. She is so good. And Apollo, he also had his big moment in Case 5, of course, with that big head slam, having to do the right thing. Apollo and Trucy had the time to shine in Spirit of Justice, and you know what? I like them now. They're good. So you know what? They get the top of A. I don't think they're good enough to be S tier, though. But they get the top of A tier. Dirk is fucking awesome. Dirk is S tier. Fuck y'all. I'll put her right next to Dad's. Dirk's I don't know. Yeah, Dirk is awesome. Ultimate dad. Just absolute Giga Chad, dude. And you know what? He really pushes to do the right thing throughout the stuff. Gives Apollo the advice that he needs. Does what he needs to do. Dirk is awesome. Like, it's funny because Edgeworth is, like, clearly an anime protagonist, but then you just have his dad, which is just kind of guy. But he is a great guy, obviously. Fantastic guy. But I don't know if he's S-tier material here. So I think I'll put him right there. That's a good spot for him. Yeah. Blackwell, the other Blackwell. I don't remember your first name, but I know your last name is Blackwell, so you are very good. I'm definitely going to put you right here, probably. Yeah, Blaze DeBest is kind of the cutoff point, because Blaze DeBest is really a fantastic villain, but Blackwell's great. I did think she might have done something wrong at one point, and I mean, she does do something wrong. She kidnaps fucking Trucy. Still don't forgive you for that, asshole, but she's great, and she just wants to know the truth, and she's actually the reason that we even caught the Phantom in the first place, so big props to Blackwell. Both of them. Y'all ever think about how Dane Gustavia just kind of was the catalyst for the entire Ace Attorney series? And I know you could probably argue, oh, it was actually someone in the Great Ace Attorney, but no, I mean, technically yes, but come on now. I'm talking about the main games. I mean, it's because he killed Dover that DL6 happened, which means Edgeworth became a prosecutor, which means Mia lost that case when he was prosecutor, which means the investigation games happened. Dane DeGustavia is the cause of a lot, and I find that pretty funny. As a character, he's not A tier, but I just thought I'd point that out. He's a villain. He is a villain. I will put him right here. He's good, but he's not A tier. I really like this character. I don't remember her name, but she is the sweetest little girl, dude. She's really funny. She cares about her dad. I like her a lot, and man, I think it took way too long to actually see her, because she is so sweet, dude. She's got the big old helmet, she's sitting in the wheelchair. I love this character. Alright, I think that's a good looking A tier to me, so now we can move to S tier. Godot is still my favorite, and that's not going to change because this man is just... he's just special to me, man. We'll get to this in the later sections, but Godot is just special to me. And No matter what heights these other characters reach, I just can't get past. What happened in Trials and Tribulations, man? Is Lana Skye really S tier? Yeah, I guess she is, honestly. She's great. Probably one of the best examples of a blackmailed person that has to stay into silence. I know it's a weird concept, but it's explored a lot in a murder mystery series, and I think Lana does it better than most. Although Dahlia is way better than them, as is Iris, so yeah. It's funny, these two kind of stand out because they seem like these are like the two like least plot relevant characters, you know? Because they're only in their one case, but you know what? They do what they do well, so they get S tier. Oh yeah, one thing I thought I'd mention, the Karine Judge was not actually he wasn't an option in the original tier list that I made, but he was an option here, so I just kind of threw him next to the other judges. Although I will say he's below the other two because this guy's kind of an asshole sometimes. It's kind of because of the country that he's living in. That sounded racist. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he's kind of an asshole sometimes, but he's still cool. Canadian judge, and then main judge is best judge. You can't get past this judge, dude. This guy has seen it all. I love the judge. Who doesn't love the judge? He's just funny. He's great. You can always trust little old judgy boy to give a fair ruling. Oh yeah, funny story about Canadian judge. When he said a boot for the first time, I'm gonna be honest, I thought that was a typo. I am so sorry to any Canadian viewers watching this video, but I didn't think that accent existed, and Ace Attorney taught me that it did exist. So thanks, Ace Attorney, for teaching me that Canadian people exist. I think this S tier is looking pretty good. Alright, we're going to look over it one last time, and then we are going to get into the Great Ace Attorney characters, finally. I'm sure the video is cut down, but for me, I've been here for a while now. So starting out, honestly, when does it not be S tier? S tier, S tier, S tier, S tier, S tier, S tier. Okay, it cuts off right there. Alright, cool. So let's start out with Naruhodo. We got Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Naruhodo. I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna be hard to pronounce a lot of these Japanese names because in case you couldn't tell, guys, I'm not Japanese. So it's gonna be hard to pronounce just a few of these names, but I think it's Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Yeah, I'm right, probably. Let's just get all the characters, just all like the main ones, just up here. Because they all deserve it. We got Kazuma, we got Susato, we got fucking Herlock Sholmes, we got Iris. They all belong up here. Without a shadow of doubt in my mind. Van Zeeks too. They are all up here. And we'll go over each one individually right now. But these are all S tier. Starting with Naruhodo, very good character development. Starts out, no idea what he's doing, and he gets through and ends up being a legend. Naruhodo has such good character development. Ryunosuke, awesome. I like his design. I got used to it. It's great. He is awesome. A lot like Phoenix. I mean, do I just put him right next to Phoenix? I probably do. I don't like him as much as Phoenix, probably because he only has 2 games, but his ancestor will go right next to him because Ryunosuke is awesome. Susato might just be my favorite assistant. I'm gonna be honest. Susato is fucking fantastic. For one, she is the only competent assistant in the entire series. I mean, no dissing to forensic science or thievery, but I mean, dude, she's literally a judicial assistant. She comes through countless times. And that's not even to mention the time she actually was a lawyer. She did that because she's fucking Susato. Because she's awesome. Everything about Susato just makes me happy. That smile that she gives just melts my fucking heart, as does her theme. I love Susato. She's, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Susato's my favorite assistant. Sorry, Maya. Sorry, Emma. But Susato is just fucking fantastic. Van Zeeks, I will put you right next to Blackwell because you are basically pretty similar. I mean, where you are tough as shit, but you're fair. You are really fair. And you know what? Me and Van Zeeks, we pursued the truth together. None of this Von Karma, none of this even Edgeworth in the first game. You were never trying to hide the truth. For the most part. I can recall like 1 or 2 times where you were kind of bullshitting me. So you're either stupid or rude. But Van Zeeks is great, and he really cares about his brother. we really pursue the truth with him together. Van Zieks is great. All of his animations are really funny. Crushing the fucking glass in his hand, or sorry, the hollow chalice in his hands, slamming his fucking foot onto the desk, dude. Van Zieks' animations are hilarious. I love his design. When he took his cape off, you know shit was about to get real. And actually, that's another similarity between Black Will. You break the chains, shit's about to get real. You take the cloak off, shit's about to get real. So, I love Van Zieks. I love him even more as time goes on, because he gets even better in the 5th case, and the 4th, obviously, because you learn about his true motivations. Van Zieks is great. Where do I even begin with Herlock Sholmes, dude? Where do I even begin? This character is fucking bonkers, and I love him. I think... Ooh, this is hard. I think I'll put him right here. Better than Athena, worse than Gumshoe. That sounds about right to me. Herlock Sholmes is the funniest genius I have ever met. For some reason, he just always knows what's going on, always knows what's gonna happen. He's just like, oh yeah, I knew that Lord Strongheart was behind all of this, so I just kind of contacted the Queen of England, you know? I just kind of did all that. He is the funniest character. We were talking about Lord Van Zieks having funny animations. Yeah, we'll multiply that by 2 for Herlock Sholmes, because Jesus Christ. Him falling over, him trying to square up with you. He is so funny, dude. He is hilarious and a genius at the same time. His name is funny, and I hate him for making me used to the name Herlock Sholmes, because now I recognize that name more than the original, and that makes me angry. But it wouldn't be Herlock Sholmes if he didn't make you just a little bit angry while also making you happy, so I respect it. I'll put Iris right next to Herlock Sholmes. They belong together. And Iris is 10 years old. And when you consider everything that she has done, that is fucking crazy. She is... I was going to say smarter than Herlock Sholmes. She's smarter than Herlock Sholmes on the surface until you realize that this guy knows everything that's happening. But Iris on the surface is definitely smarter. I mean, dude, doesn't she have a science degree or something? She is insane. Another just really funny character. You can never underestimate Iris, because she's probably thinking of what you're thinking, and she's gonna spray you with this fucking goop and you're gonna die or something. Kazuma is one of the more interesting characters in the series, because his character development is wild. This character is all over the place until he's not, and then it's great. You think he dies, and then he comes back, and he decides to stay as a prosecutor, and you know what? I respect the fuck out of that. His goals are very twisted sometimes. I'm still not sure about him actually being an assassin or not, whether we should forgive him for that or not. His motivations are very confusing, but regardless of that, he's still just so incredibly well written. I think one of the most interesting parts about Kazuma is the evolution of his themes. When his new theme as a prosecutor first started playing, I was chilled to the bone by the change in tone that was going on there. It signified that the playful, happy-go-lucky Kazuma we knew was gone, and what was left was a vengeful spirit. It represents the mood shift perfectly, and it left a big impression on me. I think I'll actually put him right next to Van Zieks, because obviously they are apprentice and master for a second there. I kind of correlate that, and in the end, they are really act like partners, and I hope that, like, in the future, after Great Ace Attorney 2, they really do come to work together, because these two have very connected pasts, and they hate each other for it, but they really come to an understanding once they learn the truth, and that's awesome. Ooh, Shishiro Jikoku. Wow, okay. I think him and Blaze the Best are very similar, in the sense of, well, first of all, I need to make clear, making the judge the villain, that's fucking badass. That's awesome. That is so cool. Now, my only complaint with Shishiro is that I don't think we see him enough. We literally don't see him until it's time well, we see him once when he shows up, and then the next time we see him is when we're ready to convict him. And I'm not exactly a fan of that. And much like how we don't see Misty or we don't see Igna, I understand why we don't see him. I really do. It's because, well, he didn't want us to see him, because he's trying to get away. I do think we could have gotten to know him more before we realized that he was the villain, you know? We do have that foreshadowing in the first case of the second game, but I still think we could have seen a little bit more of him. But as a villain, he's great. He's comes off as this really goofy guy, and then he starts making those serious faces. Good. Good authoritative, another authoritative villain. We love those authoritative villains out here with your Gantz and your Von Karmas and your Blaze de Bests. We love these big, powerful villains. That's what we like to see. So, Shishiro Jikoku, pretty good. Yujin Mikotoba, A tier, probably. I'll put him right next to Gregory for just being a really cool guy. I think it takes us a little bit too long to really learn who he is, because up until then, I mean, dude, I remember when I first met him in the first case, I was like, this is just Guy. That's it. But no, we learn more about him. Being Herlock Sholm's partner is awesome. The tap dance raises him to A tier by itself, so I mean, what can I say? Honestly, I'd argue he's the best of the Pains, to be honest, or the Ouchi clan, I should call it. He's definitely the funniest with his hair. The character arc of the hair, it's pretty funny when they use the music and shit. That is really funny. Although, I'll put him right here, because Winston is too classic in my opinion. But he's definitely better than Gaspin. You gotta like the Ouchi clan, bro. They're just constantly terrible at their job, and, you know, you gotta respect that. Inspector Hosonaga, you're a pretty cool guy. I'd say you're in B tier. You're just a good guy. Yeah. Honestly, I would have been down for Hosonaga to be a, like, mainstay character. When he showed up in Case 2, I'm like, okay, is Hosonaga going to be in the entire, like, throughout the whole game? And I mean, he was. He kept showing up. Like, technically, I mean, he showed up in the first Case of 2. He is pretty frequent. He gives you the paper and Shishiro's thing, so he does his job. I do wish we could have gotten more of him, though, because he's just a great guy. Has a strong sense of justice, and he helps us out whenever he can. He's just a great guy. I'll actually put him right next to Yujin. I just realized that I just coughed exactly like him. I'm very in character, guys. It's not because I've been talking for an hour. Okay, this is the start of... This is what made me think that C tier was going to be the home of the gimmicks. Here's the start of it. Oh, slipped. He is not D tier. He is C tier. Because he's just a gimmick, and so is his other witness friend. I will get into this later. He's also not D tier. Okay. But, yeah. Here's the thing, guys. The thing with the multiple witness thing in Great Ace Attorney 2 is that, and the fact that you don't meet the witnesses until they're on the stand, it is gimmicks galore. And don't even get me started on the jury system. Or the juries, I mean. The jurors. But it is gimmicks galore. We have Army Man, we have Treasure Man, and that's it. I mean, Armor Man is also a thief, I guess, but you get what I'm saying here. I mean, these witnesses and jurors in Great Ace Attorney are all just big old gimmicks, which is why we're going to probably be seeing a large majority of the witnesses here in C tier, because they're all just gimmicks. As to where, probably right here, I'd say. And I'll just put them right next to each other because whatever. Ooh, I'm gonna be honest. They wanted me to feel bad for this character, and I really, really didn't. The whole thing where she was being forced to dance or whatever, I mean, it is sad, but she killed Kazuma, dude. Well, we thought she killed Kazuma, rather, at the time. So, no, I don't feel bad for you. You're just a bitch. I mean, what can I say? As a character, Little Russian Girl is good. But, as a villain, I think she fails. I think she really does. I do not... They make me feel bad for even wanting to indict this person, which sucks, I mean... And once you learn that she didn't actually kill Kazuma, I mean, you feel even more bad. They do confirm that she did get released, but still. It's like, fuck, dude. Biff Stroganov is one of the best pun names in the series, but as a character, he is another gimmick. Oh my god. I'm so glad that they have this as an option. This guy's really funny. He is a gimmick, but he is hilarious. The fact that you learned about him in Case 2 and you're like, okay, this guy's really dangerous. Oh yeah, by the way, he's a juror now. Because of course he is. That was really funny. As a character, I'll put him like as in high C. Let's see. I put him like, yeah, right above the Russian girl. You got the other Russian. He is really funny. Giselle Brett, or Assassin, which is also a pretty fantastic pun name. She's really good. I'd go as far as to say she is right next to Callisto. Except for Morgan is higher than these two because she's Morgan. I don't know what my thought process was there, to be honest. I put her right next to Callisto. She is yet another list of twisted motherfuckers, dude. I mean, she is just an assassin who does her stuff, and it's pretty brutal, to be honest. The fact that we never see her eyes is just kind of slightly creepy. I like her design a lot. It's a good first impression of the British people, because, you know, obviously, I think I remember this. I was in the Chronicles art section, and they were talking about how they wanted to make a strong first impression and make her, like, super British, and yeah, they did. They super did. Oh god, we're here. Lord Strongheart. I will put him right next to his long-lost descendant, because you cannot convince me that these two are not related. But anyways, Lord Strongheart is the scariest villain in the entire series. He is fucking terrifying. From the very second you meet him, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush, the second I meet this guy, I knew he was the villain. Immediately. I didn't know when he was going to be the villain. I knew he wasn't going to be the villain immediately, but I said, okay, he's either the villain at the end of the first game or the end of the second game. And I was right. He is. Now, I can maybe chalk that up to my experience with Ace Attorney. I kind of know how the twists work. But you know what? He played his role fantastically. Throughout both games, you are seeing him. Every time you go into the office, he is plotting something different with a different character. He is always looming over you, and you know he's doing stuff, but you can't do anything about it. Not until the very end. And that breakdown is the second place breakdown for me. I still think the Phantom's breakdown was just overall scarier, left a bigger impact on me. But Lord Strongheart is an easy second place. That breakdown is nuts. Breaking the staff, falling over, and then screaming as the fire just bursts everywhere. I don't know how the whole courtroom didn't catch on fire there, but incredible villain. Incredibly well foreshadowed. He is incredibly scary. I mean, I legitimately said out loud, how the fuck are we gonna indict this guy when he's acting as the judge? Actually, no, I forgot to mention that. Sorry, there's just a lot of thoughts going on in my mind, guys, but when he showed up as the judge, I was fucking terrified. I said, oh, fuck, out loud, because I'm like, okay, he knows what we're doing, and now what the fuck do we do? Like, that was the biggest power move. That was the biggest oh shit moment of all time, dude, when he became the judge. Lord Strongheart, fantastically written. And a great villain. He's not exactly as eccentric as Gant, but he is. It's funny, because he's not the strongest, exactly, as in, like, the most powerful villain. I'd say that would go to Queen Garan, probably, because she's literally the queen of the country. But the Lord Chief Justice feels the strongest, in just the way that he commands everybody around him. To the point where literally the only way that we can get him is with the Queen herself. I could have never predicted that he was both the Professor and the Reaper at the same time. Jesus Christ, dude. How far do you need to go before you're satisfied? To where you need to be the Professor and the Reaper and just the organizer of the Assassin Exchange. What didn't he organize, dude? He did everything. It was literally all Lord Strongheart. From the very beginning, even in the first case, his influence is there because he controlled Brett and he controlled Sashiro. He is the looming threat the entire time. Hey, another judge. And I gotta admit, I like this judge's design the most. We got Santa Claus up in here. I'd say he's better than Canadian Judge, but not as good as original Judge, because you can't beat original Judge. But I do like Santa Judge, and that's what I will be referring to him as. Magnus McGilded is another great villain. I would place him right here. No, he's not as good as Blaze the Best. But is he better than Sashiro? Yes, he is. Magnus McGilded is the long-awaited second take at Matt Engarde. We finally got it. Another guy who is guilty, and we can't do anything about it. In this case, we couldn't do anything about it. Ashley Graydon sure could, though, but we'll get to that. Very scary villain. Very scary villain. I mean, his theme is very scary to me, like, in the weirdest way. Like, it just feels... It's such a shady theme, and I'm gonna be honest, when I first heard it, I thought it was normal shady. I'm like, okay, that's just his theme. It's like this shady guy that we gotta acquit, even though he's kind of an asshole, kind of like some people that I know, you know? But no, he just was actually a big threat that organized a lot of stuff. He's really smart. He is the smartest swindler I have ever met. Magnus McGilded is the reason for a lot of things in the first game, and that's pretty terrifying. We have the Hat Maker, and we have actually one of the better gimmick characters, in my opinion, Bruce Goodman. Bruce Goodman's great. I'm a fan of him. I think it's just because I like his design, and he shows up as a jury member again. That's the big reason. I like Bruce Goodman a lot. I'd say better, yeah. I'll put, you know what? Yeah, I'll put Mr. First right next to Bruce Goodman. That works. And then Beepo, I don't like Beepo very much. I really don't. I'll put him like right there. And then Biff Stroganoff, I do like that he's protecting the girl, so I'll put him right there. Oh, it's Gina time! Hell yeah, dude. Put Gina right here. Are you kidding me? I fucking love Gina, dude. Probably one of the best character arcs in all of Ace Attorney, and she only had 2 games. I mean, you know what? Yeah, I just had another look at the characters in Great Ace Attorney. You know what? I'm gonna say it. Fuck you guys. Gina is my favorite Great Ace Attorney character. She's not better than... Yeah, she is my favorite Great Ace Attorney character. I love Gina, dude. Her character development is so good. She just cares about Gregson in the second game. She cares about who brought her up. She has such a good arc where you teach her to trust people, and then she learns to love Gregson in a parental way. And then she carries on his legacy as a policeman. It's awesome. Her design is awesome. Her theme is awesome. Gina Lestrade, I think is how you say it, Lestrade, is great. And speaking of Gregson, oh, Gregson, why'd you have to go, man? Why'd you have to be a villain, and then why'd you have to go, man? I thought I could trust you. I really thought I could trust you. But I will hand it to the developers. Good move on actually killing off a character that spans multiple games. I think this is the only time. Unless you count Misty Faye, I guess. But I don't, because we never meet her. But if we're talking a character that has been a main character, for multiple games, I think he's the only one that has actually died. Now granted, Great Ace Attorney 1 and 2 are the most interconnected games in the series. I mean, they're basically 2 parts of the same story. So I guess that is kind of cheating, but still. Gregson was a good man. I don't care what he did as the Reaper, because he was being forced to by Strongheart. And he did his job, and he just loved those fish and chips, and I salute to you, Gregson. You really were a good man. As to where I'm going to put you, I feel like he's lower on S tier. Actually, is he even S tier? Actually, you know, I was thinking so much about the story around him. As an actual character, I'll put him like right here. He's good. I didn't actually think about that. I was thinking so much about what actually happened, but yeah, he's good. He's A tier. Ooh, Soseki Natsume is... I'm going to put him right next to Maggie, because they're both very good defendant characters, I'd say. You feel really sympathetic for Natsume, and you also think it's pretty funny that it happens to him twice in a row. I mean, that's just unfortunate. But no, I mean, he's good. He just wants to live his life, man, and he's just having a rough time. And then you come through and help him out. And he's eternally grateful for that, and you can tell it in his eyes, and Natsume is great. His little dance thing is also absolutely hilarious, and it got me every single time. The Gary Devs are B tier. See, it's weird, because I've seen people describe these two as culprits, and I just don't see that, I'm gonna be honest. Because it was an accident. They didn't actually mean to kill anybody. I mean, unless you're into conspiracy theories, but as I claimed with Christoph earlier, I'm not into conspiracy theories. I'm saying what the game gave me, so I'll put them... Where's like my couples section that I had over here going on? I'll put them right here. They do their thing. I don't like it when he has his head turned for the 4th case of the first game, and it just looks like a crescent moon and he'll never look at you the right way. Much more of a fan when he's actually staring at you straight. That always made me uncomfortable for some reason. Ooh, the beats. Rolly beat and pet beat. I'll put it... Again, just the couple section. Probably... I mean, they are really lovey-dovey, and I'm not exactly a huge fan of that. But, ooh, I didn't think about this. Rolly Beats, like, character arc that he had a little going on there, where he just wanted an evening with Pat. Is it Pat? Patty? Wait. Oh, it's Patricia Beat. Okay. That makes sense. And Rolly Beat. I do really like the moment where he organized the crime scene just because he wanted to have a night with his gal. That was really sweet. And honestly, they would be in the gimmick section if they didn't have that going for them. So I think I'll put them right next to the other couple. As a couple, I like these two more, but as characters, I like these two more, so. Ooh, Pop Windybank. He died. So there's that. But before he died, he was pretty cool. When he went to grab the gun, I almost lost my shit. That really freaked me out. And for that, I gotta give him some credit. That was pretty funny. As a character, he's just a good guy. I'll put him right next to... You know what? Yeah, right next to Grosberg. I didn't ever realize how similar they look. Ooh, Ashley Graydon, or otherwise known as Egbert Benedict. I'm gonna be honest, his real name isn't Egbert Benedict. He made that clear, but for some reason, whenever I look at his face, I just remember that name instead of, you know, the actual name. But I'll put him right here. He's better than Giselle. Yeah. He's good. He's a good villain. He's a good villain. And that's why he's B tier, because he's just a good villain. There's nothing fantastic about him. He's pretty basic, honestly. I don't really like his motivation, to be honest. He's like, oh, I hated being poor, so I became rich. Like, yeah, I don't feel bad for you, asshole. You're just a dick. Mario and Luigi. Dude, these are fucking awesome characters. Like, I unironically love these two. And actually, I forgot to mention this with Gina because I was so concerned with her characters. But now is the time to talk about this. I love the translation from the English translation for the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. The way that they portray British accents is fucking hilarious. The way that Gina talks, the way that Mario and Luigi talk, and I'm just going to call them Mario and Luigi. I think it's like, they're the Skulkin brothers. I don't remember their actual names. Nash and... no, I don't know. But the Mario brothers, their accents are fucking hilarious. Calling everyone Gavna and all that shit. No offense to any British viewers or any European viewers at all, but I think you guys talk funny as shit, and I think these characters talk funny as shit, so... But no, they are really funny. Honestly, yeah, they are next to Box Girl. They're not as funny as Box Girl, in my opinion, but they're super funny. I'll move Larry right up here, I think, yeah. But no. The Skulkin brothers, otherwise known as the Mario brothers, are so funny. Okay, we're entering Great Ace Attorney 2 territory now with Remember Me. Remember Me? I think it's Remember Me because that's the pun, obviously. She is cool. She's just another good character that gets plopped in B because she's just kind of cool, and that's kind of the extent of it, to be honest. I'll put her right next to these two, or these three now, because just another good defendant, you know, as Susato's best friend. She's cool. I kind of wish we got more of her, to be honest. I mean, she could have came with Susato to Britain or something. I don't know. It's weird because she was on the box, basically, is what I'm saying. So I thought she was going to be more relevant, but no, she's just the first defendant. So she also weirdly looks a lot like Maya, even down to some of her animations, which is a cool little reference, whether it was intentional or not. Memi Memo, I think his name is. Honestly, one of the better first villains. I'm still going to group him up with the first villains. He's better than you. He's not better than Horace. But honestly, as a normal character, he's whatever. He's just your stereotypical dude. But honestly, I really like what he ends up foreshadowing, because he is a man that basically goes crazy. He's not like batshit insane, but he goes crazy because he knows of the truth. And he learns what's actually going on behind the curtain. And he tells you about that before he gets kicked out, before he can say too much. And that was fantastic foreshadowing for the rest of the game. Miss Olive Green. Very sympathetic villain again. I think I'll put her right here. I like her more than Yanni Yogi. No, do I? Yes, I do. But I don't like her as much as Marlon Rhymes. She's good. I think she's kind of overshadowed by William Shakespeare, which we'll get to in a second. But no, I really feel bad for her. Like, almost like, I think I feel the most bad for Acro and Jake Marshall. But I feel more bad for her than Marlon Rhymes. I just think Marlon Rhymes is better written. But she is, dude, she lost her fiance to this asshole that was just trying to get the treasure. Like, how bad must that feel? And I mean, she even said it. I think she said, to be or not to be. Well, you should have never been, you dick. And I'm like, damn, that hit, that cut deep. That was rough. So, yeah, I feel bad for Miss Olive Green. She didn't really do it. She did something wrong, but it doesn't feel like she did anything wrong. Now, William Shakespeare, on the other hand, first of all, I need to make something clear. If we're going off the pun name alone, that is the worst pun name in the entire fucking series, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Dead man is Mozart compared. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but he is Mozart. I'm going to stick to my guns. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but he is Mozart compared to William Shakespeare. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking serious? William Shakespeare. But anyways, as a character, I mean, good villain. Very good villain, in my opinion. I'll put him with the other stereotypical villains. I like him more than most of them, to be honest. I still like Dane Gustavian more, but he's great. You can tell from the very second you meet him that he is up to stuff. And he is, and it's great. And, yeah, that's all I gotta say. Don't really like his design very much. I remember I met him in the Case 4 of the first game, and he just perpetually had his mouth open, and I'm like, that just looks wrong. He just looks nasty, but I got more used to his design as time went on, and he's cool. Good villain. The gas people are kind of just gimmicks, but they're pretty funny gimmicks. So I'll put them like, this is a good spot for them. This is a good spot for them. He's funnier than her, so I'll put him right above. That's a good spot for them. They're just funny, they're good, and they fulfill their purpose in the plot, and then they dip. So, alright, we're on the final row here, starting with Albert Hairbrain, who is pretty good, I would say. Let's see. Another good defendant, actually. Great Ace Attorney did pretty good with these defending characters, I'm noticing. I mean, Albert Hairbrain feels pretty good to defend. I mean, he's just a genuine man. The only time where he doesn't is when he objects because he's worried about his hypothesis. That was bullshit. But then he gets the character development, so he makes up for it. Good defendant, not better than Natsume, not better than Maggie. Better than Rei Membami, though, for sure. Ooh, Esmeralda Tuspels? Is that how you say it? Oh, God. Wait. It's probably just some French shit, I think. That's the language that she speaks. God, I'm really just going to offend so many people in this tier list. But she's great. I like her a lot. She's going to be high on this little B tier we got going on here, which is continuing to just be the largest group because I just like characters, okay? I mean, they're all just good, like, but they're not A, you know? A is, like, reserved for fantastic characters, or you know what I mean? So, you know, B is gonna be big. No, but I'd put her around, like, right here. She is awesome. I think she plays, like, she is a gimmick character to the bone, but she plays her gimmick masterfully. And even ends up working it into the plot with the way that she got the mold of the professor, so, well, who we thought was the professor. So, she's great. She plays her gimmick to perfection. Am I the only one that thinks her themes sound straight out of Super Paper Mario in particular? I cannot be the only one that thinks this. Like, listen to this. Speaking of gimmicks, Balloon Person and Kid. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, Balloon Person is probably one of the better gimmick characters. He's cool. Kid is not. I'm going to put him right next to the other kid because they're both just brats, and that's about it. Although he does have the funny accent, but that's kind of it. So I'll just put them right next to each other. They're both just brats, and that's about it. Ooh, it's time for Enoch Drebber, dude. I really like this villain. I'm going to put him right next to what I am now dubbing the trio of eccentric villains, because Luke Atme, Furio Tigre, and Enoch Drebber. I love all three of their designs, although Luke Atme's hair could be a little bit better. But I love their designs, I love their animations, love their personalities. They're all goofy, but they're all also really intimidating. This is how you do a villain, people. Furio Tigre, Luke Atme, Enoch Drebber. Very good. Ooh, Courtney Sith. Honestly, did not get enough screen time. Same problem that Sashiro had, where she did not have enough screen time before they showed that she was the villain. Kind of a problem with another character that I know, but Did not get enough screen time, but she was still a very good villain. The twist that she was the villain at the end was super good. And that's the first time that they used the prelude to the Pursuit theme. And that was great. I'd say she's on the higher end of villains. She's probably better than Gustavia. Is she better than... I just realized that Patricia Rowland is just not as good as I said she was. Just not as good as I said she was. But... yeah, Courtney Sith is gonna go... like... right there. No, I changed my mind. I actually like her a lot. I mean, as a villain, she's really good. I know we didn't see enough of her, but... she plays her role really well, better than fucking Ashley Graydon, I'd say. I mean, we see more of Ashley Graydon. He's more intimidating, but I guess that's true. I'm arguing with myself again, guys. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I'll put her right in front of Dane, I think. Yanni Yogi was a little bit better. Yeah, I think she belongs right there. Now, her daughter is much cooler. I think she gets like a nice solid A tier, to be honest. I mean, she's great. She doesn't want to follow in her mom's footsteps, and I respect that. When we first met her, I thought she was going to be like, oh, you got my mom in jail, and I hate you. But no, she doesn't want to be like her mama, because she's a good person, and I respect that. Where do I even put Evie fucking Vigil, dude? I mean, she shows up for 2 seconds. She's a juror, obviously, for the case, but then as a character, I mean, she shows up for 2 seconds and then dips. So... but I like her design. She gets like low B because I like her design and she's a good wife. Now, Dally Vigil or Daily Vigil. I know the pun is Daily Vigil, but is it Dally Vigil is how you pronounce it? I don't know. Tragic character. Tragic character. Tragic character. Tragic character. Better than Violetta, not as good as Cherry Falls. He suffered, dude. This guy has it rough. And even when you do know that what he did, I mean, he's still getting fucking strangled by his boss. I mean, this guy can't catch a break. He had it rough. I don't exactly blame him for hiding his personality. I do blame him for hiding it from his wife, though. That's fucked up. But, I mean, he kind of did what he had to do, man. I mean, he didn't have much of a choice in the matter. Dally had it rough. That sucks. And when we learned that he tried to commit suicide, that silenced me. That silenced me, genuinely. You are a cool gimmick witness, so you get B tier. I like the firework stuff. Firework gimmick is cool. She's cool. I like her. I honestly wish we got more of her, to be honest. When that's my biggest complaint, that I wish we got more of her, that's good. These two are kind of weird. I think I'm going to put them in C tier. They're not exactly gimmick characters. I just don't like them very much. I don't really like these people that just cry down like babies. It's not funny, it just makes me feel awkward, and I'm not a fan. I'll put them right next to, yeah. They remind me of Turnabout Big Top characters, to be honest. I mean, yeah. And finally, we have Governor Caden, and he's good. Another B tier. Not a very dramatic finale, huh? Just another B tier. He does have some twisted morals. Again, I'm still not over him strangling Dally, dude. You have no fucking right to treat that dude poorly. Are you kidding me? You have no right whatsoever to do that, you asshole. But no, he's cool. He's cool. He did what he had to do. It's not exactly his fault what happened. And him bringing out the biscuits, the fucking, what is it called? The handcuff biscuits is pretty funny. 2 hours! Jesus Christ. I mean, this is going to be the longest segment by far, but still. Okay, I'm going to look over this one more time because I did miss... I'm pretty sure I missed a few things. But unlike last time, I will make sure that I include the stuff. I'm just going to put Pearl with Maya for the sake of things. I do like Pearl a lot, so it's not like totally out of the realm of possibility. She just felt out of place in this row of post-trilogy characters. I'm going to put... yeah, I'm going to put Enoch Drebber higher than these two. I just love him, dude. I think it's something about his fucking, like, sound design and movements and design. It just gives me so much stimuli, so much dopamine. You have no idea. I think it has something to do with that, but I also just really like him as a villain. So, yeah, he gets a lot higher. I guess someone that I realized I didn't talk about is this lady who... another very sympathetic villain. I mean, super sympathetic, which is why she's up in A tier for me. I mean, she's great, in my opinion. I really do feel bad for her. And she did get arrested. She did get arrested. But she's great. I don't really think of her as a villain, but as a friend, which is why I didn't really talk about it, because she's a friend. I think I'm gonna move this guy just a little bit lower, probably next to Giru, honestly. Right below Giru, because he's cool, but, you know. These two are pretty much inseparable for me because they're the only two actual culprits from the first game. Think about it. Case 2 was an accident. Case 3, well, we never got to, like, get him, if you know what I mean. The only two, like, actual culprits that we got. And then Case 4 was an accident. So, 2 accidents and an acquittal. So, these were the only 2, and they were good. So, I think I'm giving Clavier a bit too much credit. Yeah, he's good as a guy. I kept saying the whole thing that I've been saying with him is good as a character, bad as a prosecutor. But even as a character, he's kind of annoying, so I think I'm going to put him just a lot lower than I was before. He has always seemed out of place for me, and I can never put my finger on where I should put him. Do we think... Yeah. I like Maggie more than Dane Gustavia, but I don't like her more than Giselle Brett. I know her name is Assassin, but Brett just makes so much more sense when I look at her, so I'm just going to call her Giselle Brett. And I swear to God if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I hope it's Giselle, I really do. Yeah, I'll move the defendant characters up here. Except for I won't move Remember Me up, because she's not... I don't like her as much as Dane Gustavia. But I like these 3 more than Dane Gustavia. Actually, I like them more than Ashley Graydon too, but I think William Shakespeare is the cutoff there. I think I like him more than them. Gonna move Tuspells up just a few spots. Man, can you understand why I was calling everyone him and her before? It's because I feel like I'm mispronouncing these names, and I'm self-conscious about that. But Tuspells, I think? Maybe? 2 spells? Tibbity-bap. Dr. Crab, you are going to go... I actually really like Dr. Crab. Just being a lazy-ass fucking doctor. Pretty funny. I will put him... I like him more than Tuspells. Do I like him? Yeah, I think that's the cutoff. With the other doctors. Bring the doctors together. Can I just, like, take the animals off the list like I did with these 2? Because... like, I get it. Funny jokes in the first tier list. Haha. Get it. I made the animals S tier, but I'm trying to, like, make a definitive tier list here. I don't want to have to do this again. I'm trying to be serious about it, so I'll take the animals off. You know, I was drawing the parallels between this guy and the other kid, but to be honest, this kid is much better. So I'm going to actually put him much higher. Well, not much higher. I mean, still like low C, but he's a little bit better. I'll put him like... Do I just put him right next to Balloon Guy? Yeah, I do. Yeah. As much as I hate Machi and Lance, at least they don't make me so unbelievably uncomfortable that I want to fucking off myself, so I'll move them right here. Which would dub Dr. Hottie the worst character in the entire series, and you know what? That sounds about right. I don't have any objections there. Alrighty, I think that's it. That took so long for me, Jesus Christ. We are almost at 2 hours. I think I'm actually going to take a break in between this and the next section, but just to show you all, this is the completed tier list. This is it. This is what we got going on here. I apologize if I didn't talk about your favorite character. You can actually ask me in the comments if you want. Yeah, for sure. Let's talk in the comments. I mean, if there's a character that you think I should have talked more about, if you want to hear my opinion on them, wondering why I put them there, then let's talk in the comments. I respond. I heart and comment. I heart and reply to literally every comment that I see. At least, I mean, unless there's one that YouTube literally just does not show me, which does happen. Trust me, but that's rare. So I will try and talk with people as much as I possibly can. So yeah, let's talk. But for now, that is it for characters. Let us move on to probably everyone's favorite section. I can only assume it's definitely my favorite part. It's cases time, baby. Actually, wait, no. Gumshoe goes here. Because he deserves it. And for the final changes, we're going to be moving Garan up here, as I promised earlier. Going to put her right next to her sister. And we're going to be doing 2 other changes that I noticed while editing that I think would be nice just for organization purposes, really. The first thing that I noticed is that we have all these first killers up here, but then we have people like Red White and Florent LaBelle down in C tier, so I think I'm going to move, like, all of them down, yeah. There, that looks much better. Now Richard Wellington has some company. I mean, he was all alone as a first killer down here in C tier. Now he's got all of his first killer friends, except for you. We don't talk about you. And the last thing that I noticed is a very small thing. I'm just going to move Courtney Sith and William Shakespeare with the other killers, mostly for organizational purposes. It's not exactly because I like one more than the other. It just looks nicer. That one's just me wanting it to look nicer, so yeah. Now, with that all said and done, let's head back to Past King Crew to talk about the cases. Alright, I get it. Turnabout Revolution. Yes, I heard you guys. There were like 20,000 comments. I get it. Turnabout Revolution. We'll get to there. But for now, let's start with the cases from F tier. Alright, so my opinion hasn't changed on anything in D or F tier, so that's an easy start, right? I mean, this case still sucks, this case still sucks, this case is still a massive disappointment, and this case still only has one good character, so that was easy. Now, if there's one thing, and one thing only, that has changed with my opinion on Apollo Justice, it's that Turnabout Trump is definitely the best of Apollo Justice. Now, does that mean it's good? No. I think it still has a lot of plot problems. I think Kristoff is still a bad villain because you don't get to know him. And I still think it's just a little bit too handholdy. Now, there are some other cases that I didn't mention being handholdy that some people called hypocrisy for me on. And I'll get to that. But for now, I'm just going to stand my opinion. I still think Turnabout Trump is not very good. But it is better than Turnabout Corner. I will give it that. It is definitely the most entertaining of the four. It is definitely the coolest of the four when you don't think about it too hard. My opinion has not changed on 6-3. I don't think I had any comments specifically on 6-3. It just felt like a controversial opinion at the time, but I guess not because I didn't get any comments about it. I still feel like this case is not very good. I just didn't have a good time with it. What can I say, man? I mean, it still has some good characters. You have Believe, you have, this introduces That's a Rebel. It's good stuff. And it was a necessary step in order to get to Turnabout Revolution. But it's still not enjoyable. It's still completely not satisfying to end up getting the villain. Now, I did say that there was no breakdown, I think I remember, with Believe. But I did forget that Tarust did have a breakdown. But that still felt like not much, which is why I completely forgot about it. Shoutouts to the Plumed Punisher for being one of the funniest things in this entire game, second only to Dats. That bootleg-ass theme song had me cracking up way more than it should have. Now, all the intro cases are so weird to me, because, like, they're all, like, but I just don't know what to think about it. I think I'm going to start moving some of these intro cases into D tier. I'm going to give Turnabout Big Top some company here. I think 2-1 gets it. I think Investigation 1 definitely gets it. This one doesn't, though. This one doesn't. This one doesn't. So, yeah. Turnabout Big Top finally gets some company over in D tier. Oh yeah, and I guess now would be a good time to mention, I guess the tier list editor changed since I last made the video, because now they have all these, now they got all the numbers on the thing. I couldn't find one without them, actually. Granted, I didn't look too hard, but yeah, this is what we're working with now. And it does make it easier to remember what each one is called. I don't think the last case of Investigations 1 is god-awful. I still think that the fourth one of Investigations 1 is still the best case in that game. I still think, which is funny because I think it's the only instance where a solely reminiscence case is the best in the game. But that's just how it is. It just happened to be the most fun to solve. It had the best mystery. I like the mystery of the Atakarasu. I really do. Finding out how it was 3 members instead of just 1, figuring it all out, that was good. I like that in Investigations 1. So I'll give the 5th case the bottom of B tier. It'll get the bottom of B tier. Still don't like Carcass Alba that much because I just didn't care. But the Yatagarasu part, I give props to that. These 2 cases are definitely the peak of Investigations 1. One thing that I immediately noticed is that 1-2 Turnabout Sisters is in B tier. No, I'm gonna put it right there. Honestly, I remembered this case a lot more fondly, I think, when I made this tier list, because I sung its praises, but to be honest, replaying it on stream recently. Well, actually, that was back when it was videos and not streams. But still, replaying it, this case is pretty simple. As I was saying before, I mean, I was talking shit on Turnabout Trump for holding your hand. Yeah, well, Mia does the case for you. You don't get red-white. Mia does. Now, I am still willing to forgive this case a lot more than some would think because, hey, it is still the second case in the entire franchise, and most people will be starting with the first game, and most people should start with the first game. So I'm still willing to cut this case some slack because I think it still helps ease you in, teaching you more, going past... it feels like another tutorial case to me, and as that, it's a story-important tutorial case, and I think it serves its purpose well, so I think it still earns its spot here in C tier. I don't think it's as bad, as terrible as people make it out to be. Now that would mean that Turnabout Samurai is the best in the first game, and honestly, no, I don't think so. I still think that the second case and the first case are superior to Turnabout Samurai, which means it'll get pushed right here. I guess, yeah. Airplane case was good. I think it was Turnabout Airlines. Turnabout Airlines, pretty good, honestly. I've heard some people shit on that one too, but honestly, it's just decent. C tier is just cases that I have no problems with, or cases that I do have problems with, but it's not, like, terrible. It's weird, because I don't hear anyone talk bad about this case right here, but I also don't hear anyone talk good about it. In fact, I just don't hear people talk about this case, because it's so unbelievably just nothing. This is a nothing case. We're back to the characters, just nothing cases. Because honestly, that's what's going on here. This is just nothing. You get... didn't like it. Every time I think about Investigations 1, this case, this first one, just completely slips my mind. It is so unbelievably forgettable. I'd say it's probably the most forgettable case in the entire franchise. I do not know what happened here. There was a basketball hoop in the hall, I remember that, and that's about it. Turnabout Revolution. We're doing this right now. We're doing this right now, except for I misclicked, but we're doing this right now. I heard you guys, and I'm gonna make it A tier. Yeah, I'm making it A tier. Now granted, I'm not gonna completely blue balls you guys. I'm making it top of A tier, definitely. But it still doesn't feel like an S tier case to me. It really doesn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I really am. But let me just speak its praises right now. Dirk's death, one of the best moments in the franchise. Learning that Dirk is dead, having that moment of just realization, hit like a fucking truck. And I completely forgot to mention that in the original video. Completely slipped my mind. I still feel, though, that Apollo's implementation just feels wrong to me. I just can't get over that. I'm sorry, guys, but Apollo being born in Khura'in and then having, like, 4 different parents, I just can't. I can't, guys. I'm sorry. It just doesn't fit. I know a lot of people have spoken about how this was Apollo's bridge to Turnabout. And yes, it was. But the reason it's not on the same level of bridge to Turnabout is because Phoenix was building up to that moment across the entire trilogy, and it felt like it was all leading up to that one moment. But here, it feels like the beginning of the case was leading up to this moment. Not anything in Apollo Justice, not anything in Dual Destinies, not even anything in Spirit of Justice. Apollo does nothing to hint towards this inevitable conclusion, even in Spirit of Justice, except for calling Nayuta an old friend one time. It just feels like it happened just a little bit too fast for me. Now, it's still the top of A tier because Garan is still a pretty solid, good villain, decent villain. Nayuta is a pretty decent character. It just did a lot right, and I sincerely apologize to the Turnabout Revolution fans. I get it. This is like your favorite case, guys, but I just can't get behind it as much because I guess I'm just too analytical about it. I really do, because it was good in the heat of the moment, but when it was all over, I just remembered that that was Apollo's big moment, and it just kind of happened. Man, I said I was going to sing its praises, but I kind of just shit on it some more. I was just trying to justify myself because my justifications in the original tier list video are dog shit. So I was trying to just defend myself a little bit there. But no, it is still a very good case. A very good case. So it gets top of A tier. I just have a few too many qualms with it to make it S tier. Magic one is definitely... I like this case a lot, actually. I hammered home the idea that this case was too short, like, way too hard. That's, like, the only thing I said about it, I think I remember. Because, to be honest, yeah, who cares? This case is really good. It made Trucy a character. It really did. And I loved that. Mr. Rias, solid villain. The Bonnie twins, good side characters, witnesses, whatever you want to call them, accomplices even. They weren't accomplices, but you know what I mean. Good case. Turnabout storyteller. I have heard people shit on this case. A lot. And I don't get it. I'm gonna be honest. All the characters are just really fun, and it's just a good time. Now, the big thing that I did hear people that people didn't like about it, is that Nayuta calls Athena a greenhorn too much. And you know what? I actually remember that too. I didn't even need you guys to spark my memory there, because I remember that. And I remember thinking, bro, Athena helped take down the Phantom. What the fuck are you talking about? I remember that. But I still think the characters are really enjoyable. Giru was kind of like... It was a lot like Marlon Rhymes, right? Where it's like, oh, he's like one of the first witnesses that shows up, but then it ends up actually being him. Good twist. I liked that. Overall, just a really solid B tier case. I have no complaints about Turnabout Storyteller, and I don't understand why people hate it so much. I really don't. Dual Destinies DLC is definitely better. It's just kind of a weird case, which is probably why I just preferred the more like overall solid, safer option that was Turnabout Time Travel. Was it Turnabout Time Travel? Turnabout Time Traveler. Okay, I was close. No, but yeah, this case is really simple, which I think was definitely the point, actually. I mean, after Spirit of Justice was just kind of just went completely off the rails, it tried to be different, and it failed and succeeded in different places. But they really just wanted to make a solid, normal case here, and they did. So, props to them. I think I'm going to move it here, probably. Yeah. Well, I think it'll go in the middle. Honestly, the more I think about DLC of 5, the more I think it was actually really good. I'm like thinking about... I'm just going over my memories of what happened, and I mean, it was really good. It was weird, but I like weird cases. I'm the Recipe for Turnabout Defender. I like weird cases. This one will go just a little bit further back, I think. Because it is the first case. It's pretty basic. I think it'll be around like here. But that's the thing. I think the thing that's crazy about Investigation 2's one is that it's a basic case. It's not a basic first case. It's just actually a normal case. I'd say it takes just about as long as Turnabout Storyteller. The Investigation 1 first case, it had really good fan service. And I'm wondering, and I don't know if that should give it props or not, right? Shelly the Killer coming back, that was awesome. That freaked the fuck out of me, and it was great. I still really like Turnabout Academy and Reunion and Turnabout. These two are so good in my opinion. Just because, for the same reasons, honestly. They both just give such good character development to everyone, and it's just great. The twists are good. The fucking investigations are good. There's just nothing wrong with either of these two. This case is awesome, though. I can't forget about fourth case of Investigations 2. That case is great. I think the third one of Investigations 2, I think I actually placed it right here already, but and I just moved it back, but I'm thinking of actually keeping it there. Actually, I think I like it more than both of them, right? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to place it right there. I still maintain my stance that Recipe for Turnabout is right beside Stolen Turnabout. I know people put these more separately, I've noticed. People will praise the fuck out of Stolen Turnabout and then kind of shit on Recipe for Turnabout, but honestly, I think of them side by side. I think they're both equally as just fun and goofy. Do I think Recipe for Turnabout is slightly worse? Yes, that's why it's behind Stolen Turnabout. But I think they're both equally as goofy and fun. Both of them have equally amazing villains. I think they're side by side, and I think that's where they will stay. I definitely think, yeah, Turnabout for Tomorrow is definitely better than Rise from the Ashes. I really like Rise from the Ashes. Or no, well, I like both of them. I love the Phantom. I spoke a lot of it in my original tier list, so I'm not going to repeat myself too much, but yeah, love Turnabout for Tomorrow. Definitely more than Rise from the Ashes. I still think Rise from the Ashes is better than Turnabout Goodbyes. Once again, I heard a lot of people shit on Rise from the Ashes. Rise from the Ashes has got to be one of the most controversial. Rise from the Ashes has got to be one of the more controversial cases because it is literally one or the other. You either love this case or you hate this case. I have seen no one say it's like average. I have seen incredible or dog shit. I am on the incredible side. I love Rise from the Ashes. Every single character is good. At least good. Gant, Lana, Emma, Angel Star, fucking, what's his name? Jake Marshall. Mike Meekins. Mike Meekins is like the only exception. And I think he's still like, okay. So, yeah, Rise from the Ashes, fantastic characters, fantastic twists, making you believe that it was Emma. Oh, dude, so good, so good. I didn't really sing the praises of Turnabout Goodbyes very much because I was just instantly going into Rise from the Ashes, but make no mistake, Turnabout Goodbyes, fantastic. And it started the trend of last cases being fantastic. You have a lot of heart, you have Yanni Yogi, you have Vaughn Karma, just all really good characters, really well written. DL6. The effects of DL6 can be found throughout the entire franchise. They affected the entire Faye family, which ended up affecting Dahlia and Iris. It affected Raymond Shields. He was mourning Gregory's death the whole time. The effects of DL6 will never not be gone, in my opinion, and that's really impressive, to be honest. That one case just changed everything, and it's a giant turning point for the series. Turnabout Goodbyes is fantastic. I still think Farewell My Turnabout is probably better than these other ones, though. It's just so different in a good way. It really changed things up. There is no case like Farewell My Turnabout. Not a single one. I mean, you could argue The Runaway Room, because, oh, they both have guilty defendants, but it's more than that. It's more than that. It's about the assassin, the kidnapping of Maya, everything about it was just finely crafted, and I don't think it'll ever be replicated, to be honest. Bridge to Turnabout is still my favorite. Nothing has changed. Call me nostalgia blind. I dare you. Alright, that's it for the refining. I mean, not much changed, to be honest. I just wanted to justify myself because the comments can be cruel. But now it's time for the Great Ace Attorney cases, so let's get started. Starting with The Great Departure. This is a very average, solid first case. I will put it right here. Very solid. I don't really have any complaints or praises about this one. Very normal case, to be honest. Taught me how things were getting started, taught me about the multiple witnesses thing, which is very strange still to me. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how that works, if that's realistic to how it was back in the day. I don't know, I just play funny lawyer game. I don't know how realistic it is. But yeah, Giselle Brett, good villain, whether you know her motive or not, to be honest. I mean, before and after, she acts as a good villain, in my opinion. And yeah, it's just good. Inspector Hosonaga, we got him. He's a good character. And yeah, I got nothing bad to say about this one. Yeah, I'd say it belongs right about here. Might readjust. Just a smidge. The cool thing about this is that it's not the first witness that you meet, which is why I think it's better than these ones. These ones right here, or these ones, or these ones. I like it when it's literally not the first witness you meet, and it's a little bit more creative with it. This is probably my least favorite case in the Great Ace Attorney 1. I came out of it not really a fan, and after I beat Great Ace Attorney 2, it actually made things worse because I learned that it was literally pointless. I'm gonna put it right around here, I think. Yeah. I don't like this case that much, I'm gonna be honest. I get it, they tried something new. They wanted to do a case where there were no trials and you just did deductions with Herlock Sholmes. To be fair, the deductions are fucking amazing. They are so fun, they are so funny, they are so interactive. It's great. But no trials means a pretty weak case, and they really wanted to try and make it engaging without the trials. But if this taught me anything, it's that the trials are definitely the best part. Pretty sure I already knew that, but this case kind of just confirmed my beliefs there. Kazuma's death, to be honest, was pretty expected. I mean, they were just doing what they did with Mia, and that was it. And it was only in the future that we learned how they kind of spun it in a different direction, the Mia idea. But as it was in this case by itself, which, trust me, I'm going to try and rank these cases without considering how the Great Ace Attorney 2 changes them. I'm trying to judge them on their own merits. And on its own merit, I didn't like this case. I didn't like the villain. She felt really just weak to me. I don't know. It kind of felt like Believe or Mrs. Garadeb even, which we'll get to, where I just felt bad. And there was no satisfaction almost, because I just felt bad. I just bullied this 13-year-old girl or whatever. I think she was 15. It's like, fuck, dude. Okay, great. The Runaway Room. I'm actually going to skip this one and go to Clouded Kokoro real quick, because I'm going to talk about 3 and 5 in conjunction. So, the Clouded Kokoro. I think that's how you say it, Kokoro. This case is also pretty average. Actually, it's better than all the first cases. It's like right here. The big problem with this case is that a killer doesn't exist. I mean, and much like I forget what this one's called, the boat one. Oh, the Speckled Band. Much like the Speckled Band, this taught me that not having a key element of the series really just tears things apart, and trying something different. Again, Great Ace Attorney did that a lot. Tried different stuff. But last time a game tried different stuff, it was Spirit of Justice, and, you know, that didn't go too well either, so yeah. Now, it's still going to be in C tier because the characters are still really solid. I mean, you got the Garadebs, which are just decent. You got Mr. Natsume, which is awesome. Rolly and Patricia Beat. They're really good, but the no killer thing doesn't work for me. So I actually looked this up, and according to the wiki, Mrs. Garadeb actually was arrested? Which is... And yes, I know she wasn't in the memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro, but I don't know, I thought she was just off getting tea or something. I didn't know she actually got arrested. The fact that I didn't even know this really speaks volumes to how underwhelming getting her, quote-unquote, really was. Very similar to Believe, if you ask me. It was only in the return of the Clouded Kokoro that we really did everything that we could with these characters. And like I said before, I'm judging these on their own merits, without taking into consideration the Great Ace Attorney 2. And by itself, this case is just okay. Now we have definitely the heights that the Great Ace Attorney 1 could soar to. We have the Runaway Room and the Unspeakable Story. These are both A tier, without a doubt. Now, this does mean Great Ace Attorney 1 does not have an S tier case, and yeah, it's a lot like Spirit of Justice in that regard. So, let's get into it. Magnus McGilded as the villain, super good. Now, the one complaint that I have about the Runaway Room is it feels a little bit too soon. We just got to Britain. And Lord Strongheart is like, hey, you know, let's just do that, and let's give you a traumatizing experience on day 1. Now, again, a very good case. Very just absolutely traumatizing, and you can really tell the effect that it has on Ryunosuke, and that's really good. But again, it is kind of brutal that they literally just thrust that onto you. Now, in retrospect, knowing who Strongheart is, he probably thrust that onto you because he thought you were going to fail, and he wanted you to just fuck up McGilded because he knew what McGilded did. This is a good example of it's kind of like a reminiscence case. Obviously, it's in real time, but it's a good example of a case that gets picked up later, you know? It feels like a reminiscence case. Once you're in the 5th case, it feels like a reminiscence case, right? Where you're trying to patch up this just travesty that happened, and it was just really interesting. This one gave us Van Zeeks and the jury system and all that jazz, but again, it kind of feels weird because at the same time that it's introducing these new elements, this bullshit is happening with McGilded and yada yada yada. It just feels like a weird place to put it. If it were me, I would probably switch Clouded Kokoro and Runaway Room. I think Clouded Kokoro is a much better place to put that in. And then you could do Runaway Room straight into Unspeakable Story. Now granted, Clouded Kokoro added a lot of development to Ryunosuke because it was able to help him recover from the events of the runaway room. But I still think it would have maybe worked better. I mean, don't quote me on that, but I think it may have been better to do Kawaii Kokoro first, defend a Japanese man, you're still kind of in your element, you know, slowly introduce it, and then hit us in the face with the runaway room, smack us even harder with Unspeakable Story, boom, credits. Now I know that was a lot of complaining, but it's still A tier because it's still super good, super interesting, super terrifying, and such and such. Now, personally, I examined the as I'm sure most of us did, I examined the wagon before the evidence was placed, before it was tampered with, and then I checked it after. And then I started freaking out. I was very confused, and to be honest, I still didn't know if it was Magnus McGilded or not. I didn't know if he was, like, protecting someone or something. I didn't know what was happening. I thought he may have been protecting somebody. I was very confused. In the end, it did turn out to be Magnus McGilded, but man, that was a scary trial. There are not many cases that just filled me with that much just genuine dread, dude. As for the Unspeakable Story, it is an excellent follow-up to the Runaway Room. Ashley Graydon as a character is super good for this case because it shows the effects that Magnus McGilded has on his victims. It shows how he's ruined people like him and driven them crazy to even do something like murder. You have Gina as the defendant, which was super good development for her. You have the Skulkin brothers that were just fantastic witnesses. They were so funny. You have the whole thing with fingerprints and photographs with the, I forget what it's called. The thingy where you compare the two pictures. I don't know. I don't live in the 19th century. Just a lot of new, interesting stuff. It was really fun to go through, just really solid, which is why it's A tier. Not S tier, definitely not S tier, but it's still just really solid. You have the thing with Gregson at the end, which felt wild, where I was stumped for like a good minute, or a good 2 minutes, which I think actually now would be a good time to mention that. I didn't use a guide for anything in the Great Ace Attorney 1. Now, I'm not going to call the game easy because of that, because I have played, what would it be? At this point, I did have 8 Ace Attorney games under my belt, so I won't exactly call the game easy, but for me, it was. No guides necessary. But I was stumped with Gregson for a second, having to figure out what to present to who, to finally get them to spill the beans, and then it clicked! And oh, that was good. Oh, that was a good feeling. That is the first time that the pursuit theme really clicked with me. That was good. That is the Ace Attorney magic that I love so much. That was good shit. That inject that straight into my veins, dude. We have 5 and 3 being very good for Great Ace Attorney 1. Everything else, nah. We have a good case and 2, nah. Moving into the Great Ace Attorney 2. Prepare your anus. Starting out with the first case, I was actually... I made that build up, but the first case is actually just okay. I'm gonna put it right next to the first one. Not as good as the first one, though. Memi Memo, I think it is not as good of a villain as Giselle Brett, although his name sure is harder to say. But, yeah, he's decent. The whole case is decent. The highlight was playing as Susato. Playing as Susato was awesome, and I wish that we did it more. I wish that they did it in a different case. Maybe do, like, the together double attorney thing that they do in, like, Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice, you know, where they have them, like, working together. That would have been great, but unfortunately not. We just got to play as Susato here, but you know what? It was awesome. And her objection theme is great, and it was just a good time to play as Susato, and honestly, if it was just with Ryunosuke, then this case would be really boring, because she honestly carries the case, in my opinion. By itself, it's good. It's decent. It's a good intro case. I mean, to be honest, actually, yeah. I'm going to place it... I still think it's better than this one. But I don't think it's better than, like, the trio of Ace Attorney 1, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, but from this point forward, for real this time, this is nothing but excellence. It's Investigations 2 all over again. Starting with the return of the Clouded Kokoro, this is going to be a high B tier. I'm going to say around this spot. I'm going to place it right here. This did everything that I wish the original Clouded Kokoro could do. We had a really interesting villain actually having to pursue the victim himself. That certainly hasn't been done before, and that was really interesting. Overall, I was just more invested here than I was in most of the Great Ace Attorney 1, and it was a good sign of things to come, for sure. Very good case, no complaints here. Now we have the Return of the Great Departed, which, to be honest, is probably the best third case in the series. It is fan-fucking-tastic. This case surprised me so much. Originally, we had it looked really normal at the beginning. It had very third case vibes at the beginning. We had Albert Hairbrain. I mean, everything seemed really just insignificant, but going to Madame Tussbell's was very strange. I had no idea what was going on there. I actually had the thought that it may connect into the last cases. Honestly, I didn't know. I had no idea what was going on here. But then it all ended up being connected with Madame Tussbell's and Enoch Drebber and fucking Courtney Sith. Just such good characters. Honestly, this case blows up in the second half. The first half is whatever, honestly, but the second half blows up so much that I gotta give it the spot of best third case. It's so good. The whole thing with the professor and Enoch Drebber and just everything that's going on, how it all manages to connect together when everything seems completely unrelated, which I know is what Ace Attorney does, but I really felt that here. How everything managed to come together. And I'm gonna be honest, I had my doubts going into case 4 and 5 because I thought this was the peak. I thought this was as good as it was going to get. When we thought we cornered Enoch Drebber and then finally turned the tables on Courtney Sith, that was awesome, dude. You have no idea. They didn't even have to do that. It would have been great by itself, but then they did, and then it reached top of A tier kit territory. Before we talk about these last two, I'm just gonna really think about what my placements were here, because placement for cases is a lot harder than placement for characters. I can't really be as nonchalant about it because there aren't as many to go around. I need to make sure I'm exact about it. So let me just think. I think I'm actually going to move Runaway Room down into B tier, because the more I think about it, the more I think it was just that one trial, which I know that shouldn't always be a detriment, but it does make it feel like smaller in scale. Honestly, I'd say I even enjoyed Return of Clouded Kokoro more. I'd say I enjoyed that more. But I do think that's the cutoff right there. I do think it's better than Magic 1. I think this case isn't as good as I may have originally given it credit for. It really is just how the way that first cases work. Like, I think about how good it is as a first case, and I forget to think about how good it is in relation to other cases. Because I see it sitting here, and I'm like, it's not better than Turnabout Reminiscence. It's not better than fucking... I don't remember what that was called. It's not. It's really not. To be honest, I think Investigations 2 and Trials and Tribulations are the only ones that really maintain that first case excellency, because, I mean, the more I think about this one, it's just good. This one's just good, but it's not, like, excellent like this and that. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, Turnabout Reminiscence and the one that I still can't remember are a little bit better than I am giving them credit for. I think they're better than these two, which are both just completely B tier, like the definition of B. They're just good. I think DLC is probably the cutoff, but at the same time, nah, I think Investigations 2-1 is probably the cutoff there. With that in mind, I don't think I have as much problem putting this there. I think the big issue that I had there was placing this above these two, and I kind of just had an issue with that. That didn't sit with me the right way exactly. I'm comparing whatever this one was in comparison to these, and honestly, I think I enjoyed this one overall more than the other ones. Now, that probably is, again, because of Susato, but I mean, not exactly. I mean, we still have Remember Me. Memi Memo wasn't terrible. It's decent. It's pretty solid, actually, the more that I think about it. It feels weird putting it next to the first game's first case, but there is a divide there. Let there be known that there is a bit of a gap there, but I do consider both of these to be better than anything in here. So I think it'll sit right at the bottom of B. Okay, so in case you couldn't tell, I've been procrastinating these last two because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do them justice, but I will try. Because Twisted Karma and his last vow and the resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo is... Where do I even begin? It is potentially the greatest case in the entire series. Personally, I think the Grand Turnabout and Bridge to Turnabout still surpass it, and I'll get to that in a minute. But for now, let me just talk about this case because holy fuck. With Gregson being the victim and Van Zeeks being the defendant, the setup was there. I already knew it was going to be legendary, but man, nothing could have prepared me for this. Learning about the truth of the Reaper, learning about the truth of the Professor, learning about it all, the Assassin Exchange, everything coming together here. Much like the Grand Turnabout, this is the Avengers Endgame of the Great Ace Attorney. Both of them. We get answers to Assassin, we learn who she is, we learn who the Professor is, we learn who the Reaper is. We learn about what this dog collar was from the fucking Clouded Kokoro. We learn about everything. And it all makes sense, just like in the Grand Turnabout. I didn't think that they could do it again, but god damn it, they did. Shishiro Jikoku is an incredible villain. Making the judge actually a villain was genius. Never been done before. So now, what do we have? We have a prosecutor that's a villain. The judge has been a villain. The defendant has been a villain. The victim has been a villain. The detective has been a villain. A lawyer has been a villain. You can't trust anybody in these damn games, I swear to God. And that final trial is not something I will soon forget. Carrying out the investigation as Shomes and Mikatoba was fucking awesome. And of course, need I even mention Male Strongheart as the villain. The man being both the Professor and the Reaper at the same time was genius. It was perfect, dude. He is the ultimate villain. And that final moment, when they make the remix of the Objection theme, and you show him that the Queen of England has been listening in, that is on par with the final moment of Bridge to Turnabout. The moment that I praise oh so much, the moment that I reference thousands of times, that was on par with it. The Deus Ex Machina with just pulling in that bullshit that I knew Herlock Sholmes would come through with, it was fantastic. And that easily makes it the third best case. My argument for Grand Turnabout being better is that I think Simon Keyes is a better villain than Strongheart. Strongheart, fantastic villain. Fantastic. Being the one behind literally everything. But it was predictable. I knew since the runaway room that fucking Strongheart was the one at the core. Now the way that we got to that conclusion in the game was still just godly. But nothing could have prepared me for Simon Keyes. Nothing could have prepared me for Simon Keyes. And Bridge to Turnabout still left just such an unbelievable impression on me that it's still going to stay number one, and to be honest, nothing will ever top it. And by that I mean nothing will ever top it in my heart. To be honest, these two, or three I guess you could say, are better. They are 100% better. But I don't care. Alright, I hope I was able to give all these cases the justice that they deserved. Again, if you have anything that you think I missed, let's talk in the comments. Let's do it. But for now, it is time to go to the music. Alright, now it's time for the music. Personally, one of my favorite parts of all of Ace Attorney, which is funny because it's a damn visual novel, but man, this music is definitely my favorite gaming OSTs. They are fucking superb, and let's start talking about them. Alright, so this was my original soundtrack tier list, and I already see a few things wrong, but it won't take as long as the other two sections, because there's only like 6 things. I still agree with these two things, to be honest, although I will say I shit on the Investigations 1 soundtrack just a little bit too much. Just a little bit too much. Yes, it still has those bad songs, those two that I mentioned that go down in infamy to this day. But it still has fantastic songs. You have the Court theme, you have Bad's theme, you have Shilong Lang, you have Kay Faraday, you have the Pursuit theme. The Objection theme's pretty bad, I'm gonna be honest. Definitely the worst Objection theme in the series, but I digress. You have really solid tracks all around, just like Justice for All. Both of these games, they have some bad songs, but they also have some bangers. I think Investigations 1 has more bangers, just better bangers, than Justice for All, so I'd say those are fair placements. I really appreciate Investigations 1 for starting the trend of giving every character under the sun his own theme. That is an addition I am all for, and I am very grateful for that. It's weird because, objectively speaking, I do know that Spirit of Justice's soundtrack is super good, but I just don't find myself listening to it as much as I do literally everything else. In my spare time, that is. I listen to these soundtracks pretty religiously. It's kind of a problem. I kind of have an issue. But I don't find myself ever listening to many Spirit of Justice tracks, and it's weird. I know that the soundtrack slaps. It has very good Objection themes. You have Politician, you have Mr. Rias. A Cornered Heart is definitely in my top 10, or top 15, whatever you want to say. A Cornered Heart's fantastic. Dirk's theme, the Revolution theme. There's a lot of good in here. And it actually has one of my favorite cross-examination themes as well. I love that song. But I don't know. I just don't find myself listening to it as much. Maybe it's because I'm so average on the game in general that I don't have an emotional attachment to it. But I think Spirit of Justice is going to get knocked down a peg, and that's probably the only change that's going to be made here, to be honest. I think when people say that Apollo Justice's soundtrack slaps, they often think of the themes in Court, and I am guilty of this as well. I gave it A tier, thinking about the Pursuit theme, the Objection theme, the Thrill theme. There's just so much going on there. But outside of the courtroom, honestly, kind of meh, actually. Honestly, pretty forgettable soundtrack outside of the courtroom. You do have the Drew theme, the Drew Mishan theme. You have Solitary Confinement. You have Guilty Love, but the rest is pretty generic in my opinion. And again, maybe that's because of my ill will towards the game in general, but overall, if I'm listening to Apollo Justice music, it's music from the courtroom and nothing else. And that is something that all these games, even the ones in B tier, have above Apollo Justice. I'm still going to keep Apollo Justice in A tier because those court themes are A+. But I think I'm going to put it at the bottom of A tier because everything else is just so in my opinion. You know, the points that I brought up about Investigations 1 and Apollo Justice were actually really good points. So much so that I think I'm going to swap them at the end of the soundtrack segment. Overall, I think the S tier is still pretty cut and dry. Dual Destinies is still king in my opinion. I just love literally everything about this soundtrack. The investigation themes, the character themes, the objection themes, the everything, dude. Dual Destinies, fantastic. The original, I think I'll put Investigations 2 above it. And I think I was a little bit blinded by just how classic this soundtrack is, not thinking about how it really stands up today. Now, I still think it's S tier standing up today, which is just telling of how good it is, but I will say that Investigations 2 definitely trounces it, with Raymond Shields and Simon Keys' theme and the fucking... what's it called? The Confrontation theme? Presto? Yeah, Confrontation Presto or whatever it's called. That song is definitely in my top 15 now. I started listening to it like immediately after I made the top 15 video, and it's definitely in my top 15 now. It's so good. It really feels like just a battle of wits, and it's super nice. Put that on when you're having a heated argument, and you will win. You will win the argument. No doubt about it in my mind. Trials and Tribulations soundtrack is kind of the reverse of Apollo Justice, where objectively, it's not the greatest in the world, but I just have such a personal connection to this soundtrack that it's going to be at the top of A. I'm not so biased that I'm going to put it in an S, but man, the Bitter Taste of Truth, Fragrance of Dark Coffee, the Court theme, Luke Atmey's theme, Furio Tigre's theme, Mask the Mask, it's just so good. I think more than any other game in the series, Trials and Tribulation's soundtrack is held back by the system that it's on. Because the melodies are absolutely fantastic, but sometimes the hardware kind of brings it down a notch. And I know this is true because Trials and Tribulations has some of the best remixes in the entire community. Still a fantastic soundtrack, just something interesting that I noticed. That leaves us with the newcomers of the thing, of the little tier list thingy, and yeah, they're both S tier. They are both definitely S tier. Now, the weird thing about Great Ace Attorney 2 is that it actually uses the same court themes as the first game. You have the same pursuit theme, same objection theme, same everything. But, to be honest, it's so good that I did not care in the slightest. I did not care. Now, as to if these are my favorite soundtracks, no, they are not. I'd place them right about here. I'm just going to place them together because they're basically the same soundtrack. Obviously not. The only difference is basically the character themes, I'd say. Resolve just adds a bunch of new character themes and some late game songs that they add. The fact that they change up all the music in the final case, the objection theme, the court theme, it's all super nice. It is very good. And I think now would be a good time to mention just how much higher quality the Great Ace Attorney games are. They are by far the highest quality Ace Attorney games. They have the best animations, they have the most animations, they have some of the best music, they have the most music. They have so much going on here. No other Ace Attorney game has just made this many separate animations just for like a single scene. Like, Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice would not have made a scene of Herlock Sholmes like opening the Queen's Scroll because it would make sense. They wouldn't do that. They just felt like cheaper in comparison, which is not a diss towards them because they're both very high quality games too, but Great Ace Attorney just blows it out of the water. And this is evident in the music too. It definitely has the most tracks of any Ace Attorney game, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it's got to, right? There's so much going on there. Some of my favorites include, I mean, where do I even begin? The Pursuit theme, the Objection theme, the Resolve, I'll just call it the Resolve theme. The remix of the Objection theme at the very end. Goosebumps Central, dude. You have Gregson's theme, you have Strongheart's theme, you have the Professor's theme. There is so much good in this soundtrack. Now, I still think Dual Destinies probably reigns supreme here. It's got the Courtroom Revolutionaire, it's got the Objection 2013, it's got Apollo's theme. I think it has the most going for it, and that is a very personal thing. And I think the other thing is that the Great Ace Attorney does have a small ounce of Spirit of Justice syndrome, as I'll call it. I said this in my original tier list video about Spirit of Justice, where they are very true to their theming, these three games, the theme of Khura'in or the theme of Britain, and as such, the soundtrack is very fitted into that theme, which does mean that if you don't like that theme, you're not going to like this soundtrack, and I grew more as a fan of it. I grew more of a fan of it as time went on, but I can totally understand if you just don't like that kind of like sound font or whatever, you're not going to like this soundtrack. Well, that's probably not true. There's enough variety here, and to be honest, the songs slap too much for anyone to care, I would imagine. But still, it has just an ounce of that syndrome that I think puts Dual Destinies just like variety on top, in my opinion. Investigations 2 also has that big variety, but it's on the DS, and to be honest, you just can't beat that full orchestration. You can't. It's too good, dude. Once again, I think my favorite is tied between Pursuit and Gregson's theme. Although it is harder to listen to Gregson's theme nowadays, now that I know what happened. You know what, fuck it, I have a new idea for this tier list. There, I think that's better. Okay, jokes aside, I think that is it for the soundtracks. I love all of these, which is why the lowest is B tier. The lowest you could possibly get is one of the best gaming soundtracks I've ever listened to. So, I mean, you really can't go wrong with any of these. These are all fantastic, and I think it's finally time. Let's do it, guys. Let's do the games. You know what? I'm actually feeling a little bit generous today. So not only am I going to give you a quick-fire round of my revised top 15 Ace Attorney songs, but I'll even make it a top 20. You can thank me later. Number 20, Gumshoe's theme from both the first game and from Investigations. Yes, I'm doing ties because it's my list. This song makes me happy, really slaps, and reminds me of Gumshoe, so what's not to love? Number 19, The Professor's Theme. This song genuinely terrifies me in the best ways possible. Hits hard every time. Number 18, A Cornered Heart. Speaking of hitting hard, Jesus fucking Christ. This song makes you feel like everything you thought you believed in was all a giant lie, which is just the greatest feeling in the world, isn't it? A very emotional piece and one of my favorites from Spirit of Justice. Number 17, Another Victory. Definitely my favorite victory theme, and it never fails to put a smile on my face. Number 16, Confrontation Presto 2011. I can only picture the most heated debate of all time while listening to this song, and it really gets me fired up. Number 15, Objection 2013 and 2016. Let's just say this song is my outro theme for a reason. It's because it makes me feel like a badass. Number 14, Pressing Pursuit, otherwise known as Overtaken. I'm honestly not sure which one it is. Pure adrenaline in song form, and it honestly would be ranked higher if it was in a different game, and that's not even a joke. Number 13, Raymond Shields Theme. This song slaps so hard that I can't even tell when it loops because I'm just vibing too hard to it. Number 12, Gregson's Theme. Pretty much the same story as Raymond Shields' theme, only just a little bit better. It sounds like the theme of someone that you can really trust in, and while that's not exactly true now that I've beaten Great Ace Attorney 2, it still feels like that to me. Number 11, The Man Who Masterminds the Game. An intimidating as hell song that hits really hard and also slaps at the same time. Number 10, Great Revival 2013. This is an example of a song that is definitely helped out by the character that it's associated with. Because listening to this theme and thinking of all of Edgeworth's achievements just makes me feel proud and strong. Number 9, a tie between Trial 2004 and Court Guardians of the Law. 4 being the most grand and hard-hitting court themes until number 8 happened. Speaking of number 8, the defendant's antechamber variation and the Great Closed Trial. Court is now in session. 4 being the most grand and imposing court themes in the entire series. And I am now cursed to forever have them play in my head when I'm about to do something important. Number 7, the fragrance of dark coffee and the bitter taste of truth. We're capturing the duality of Godot. On one hand, you have this really smooth, just relaxing jazz piece. And on the other hand, you have this song of sorrow that tells the story of a man who lost the woman he loved. Both sound really good and both carry a lot of emotional baggage with them, with me personally. Number 6, Turnabout Sisters Ballad. For making me cry more times than every other song in the series combined. Number 5, Keep Pressing On. A perfect example of why Dual Destiny's soundtrack slaps so much that it makes it hard to go back to the other soundtracks. It's just so high energy and just awesome, dude. It's so good. Number 4, Courtroom Revolutionaire 2013 and 2016. For being the only objection theme to go toe-to-toe with all of these pursuit themes. Number 3, A Great Turnabout. Much like Keep Pressing On, this song brings ungodly amounts of hype, just like a pursuit theme should. Number 2, Wanting to Find the Truth, because it has this part. Number 1, Cornered. I know it's still a cheesy pick, but I don't care. The influence that this one song has had on the gaming space as a whole cannot be understated. And on top of that, it's a really good song. My honorable mentions are every other song in the entire franchise. And the unofficial number 21 goes to Suspicious People from Dual Destinies for being the funniest song in the entire franchise. And now that that's done, I'm also going to do what I promised earlier. I'm just going to swap Investigations 1 and Apollo Justice. I hope you guys enjoyed that little bonus segment, but for now, it's time to head back to Past King Crew to finish this off and talk about the games. It's finally time, everybody. It's finally time to re-rank every Ace Attorney game there ever was. Except for this one, but we already said this. It doesn't count. If you've been watching from the start, then I appreciate you for making it this far, and let's finish it, bro. What the fuck? Why? Oh, Spooderman. Oh, is it like... Oh, it's Disneyland. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see that part. I was too distracted by that terrible haircut. But if you've made it this far, then I appreciate you for sticking along for this long. So let's finish it, and if you skip to this part, then... Well, you're still gonna get your entertainment regardless. I can't really do anything about that now, can I? Now, you may have noticed at the beginning of the video that I left this blank, and that's because I'm going to do it the way I did it originally. I am going to go in order from worst to best, and we're going to see what the result is. I know I said I didn't want to repeat myself, but I do want to give a final complete opinion on all of the games, except for this one. So starting out, yeah, nothing's changed. It's still Apollo Justice, and to be honest, my opinion on Apollo Justice has not changed at all. There is still no case in this game above C tier in my opinion. Every character is still completely unlikable, and everything still makes no sense. I've heard the defenders, I really have, but I just can't get behind whatever they say. As I said before, most of the defenders will rely on fan theories or looking outside of the box, and honestly, I think that's kind of cheating. If you have to look outside of the box to find good in this game, that means it's not a good game. I'm sorry to say. One of the big opinions that I heard that I actually forgot to mention earlier, I probably should have mentioned it during Kristoff's segment, is someone said that Kristoff and Von Karma are the same. And by saying Kristoff is bad, you're saying Von Karma is bad. Because they're both perfectionists that killed in the pursuit of perfection. But the thing with that is, Von Karma's murder was in the heat of the moment. He opened up the elevator, there was a gun, and there was the man that ruined his perfect streak. He was in a delusional state, and he pulled the trigger. And that was a very sad incident. With Kristoff, he planned the murder of several people across multiple years because he lost a game of cards. Do you see the difference there? Von Karma was in the heat of the moment and has to deal with the consequences of his actions. Kristoff is just straight up fucking delusional. And while I'm sure some people can get behind that delusional state of mind, I can't, because it doesn't make any fucking sense. Moreover, Von Karma is already built up as a perfectionist before this reveal, so it makes it so much more believable. With Kristoff, it's revealed that he's a lunatic before we learn anything about him besides he's nice, maybe? The big problem here, and the big problem with everything in Apollo Justice, is the lack of character development. No one is given the time to develop or show their true emotions. This stuff is just thrust onto you. And that is the biggest problem with this game. The comments can hit me with all that they possibly can, but my opinion is not going to change on Apollo Justice. Next up is still Investigations 1. This game is still incredibly mediocre, and to be honest, the cases just proved my point, really. The highest that it got was B tier, if I remember correctly, and yeah, that's the highest it ever reaches. It's just a really painfully average game, which is weird because I love the game style that Investigations brought. The Investigation style is actually my preferred style. I think that is walking around the crime scene by seeing your characters in third person is actually more fun in my opinion. But despite that, that doesn't get behind the fact that the game's story is still just really average. I don't really care about Carcass Alba or the fucking smuggling ring. I don't really care about any of it, to be honest. It's all just painfully average, and it's something that it left to the sequel to really pick up on, and by God, it did that, but we'll get there. Next up is still Spirit of Justice. There aren't going to be many differences until we get Tyre, I think, so just bear with me here. But for now, we're going to keep doing what we did last time. Spirit of Justice. I'm going to be honest, I really just autopiloted this game, and I have vivid memories of all of these games, but I have the least memories of Spirit of Justice. I don't know what my state of mind was. I don't know if the game was just boring. Maybe I was burnt out on Ace Attorney at the time, but whatever it was, this game just felt pretty bland to me. It tried a lot of new things, and some of it went really well, and some of it went really bad. I still don't like divination seances that much, although I don't hate them as much as I thought I did. They're decent, but not as good as some of the other gimmicks in my opinion. The game does have very high highs, but so does the next game that we're going to pull up, and I think that game has higher highs. So that's why it takes the 3rd place for the worst game, in my opinion, which makes it sound so harsh, but I really don't hate this game. It's a perfect B tier for me. It's just good. I didn't love it. None of it ever blew me away, except for the part where Dirk died. That blew me away. That was a big moment. But overall, Spirit of Justice is good, but I don't know. Maybe I would need to play through the game again. Out of all the games that I would replay, I would definitely pick Spirit of Justice first, because I feel like I cheated this game or something. Like, I feel bad for the Spirit of Justice fans in the comments. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what it was with this game. I really don't. But as of now, it's going to rest in B tier, right next to Justice for All. We're still just following the same script as last time, but I swear it'll get different. Unlike Spirit of Justice, which just gets more bland the more I think about it, Justice for All is just getting better the more I think about it, to be honest. Like I said before, we're currently streaming the game with Trident Fool. He is playing through it for the first time, and the more I play through it, the more I realize, wow, Justice for All was really good. The elephant in the room is still obviously Turnabout Big Top. It's still a very bad case, I know. But to be honest, Investigations 1 and Apollo Justice showed me how low the bar could really go. Once I played those 2 games, I realized that Turnabout Big Top really wasn't as bad as I made it out to be. Because, oh, it just got so much worse. Other than that, you have Reunion and Turnabout, which is one of my favorite cases, and you have Farewell My Turnabout, which is in my top 5. So, much like Spirit of Justice, I mean, yeah, it's got its problems, but damn, it reaches high highs, dude. Farewell My Turnabout, are you kidding me? In what universe is this game lower than B tier when it has Farewell My Turnabout? I've heard people say that they don't like this game, and they hate it more than Apollo Justice, and I don't know how you could possibly say that when Farewell My Turnabout exists in general, let alone the rest of the game. So yeah, I never really got the Justice for All hate, and to be honest, I still don't. Justice for All is great, and it deserves its spot in that original trilogy. Now, for the first difference here, we're going to be putting the first game, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 1. We are going to be putting that right before Dual Destinies, because normally it would be like this, but for now, it's going to be like this, and I'll explain that when we get to Dual Destinies. For now, Ace Attorney 1. Now, once again, I have a lot of memories of playing this game for the first time, and it just blowing me away, but to be honest, the more I play future games like Great Ace Attorney 2 and Investigations 2 and Dual Destinies, the more I realize that this game is getting more dated as time goes on. Not in terms of the writing, and that's honestly the impressive part about it. This game came out in 2001. The writing still holds up beautifully. But I mean when you've played future Ace Attorney games. I get it, it's the first game, it set everything up. But we are comparing the games here, and it does fall flat compared to some of its future triumphs. And that's okay. It's still in A tier because it's still fantastic. You still have Turnabout Goodbyes, and you still have Rise from the Ashes, and that combination secures its spot in A tier, in my opinion. Now, the other 3 cases are all C tier, in my opinion, and when you consider that, that really actually makes it look pretty bad. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really consider that fact in the original. I was just so mesmerized by Goodbyes and Rise from the Ashes that I wasn't really thinking about how the other 2/3 of the game are fucking but it's still fantastic, and we wouldn't be anywhere without Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. We still got our Edgeworth, and our Gumshoe, and our Phoenix, and our Maya, and our Mia, and I can go on. This game started it all, and I gotta respect it for that. Now next up is Dual Destinies, which is another one, just like Justice for All, that has really been on the rise in my head since I played it. This game was fantastic in my opinion. You have no really bad case, to be honest. I mean, unless you count the first case, but the Mood Matrix continues to be my favorite gimmick in the entire series. It is awesome in my opinion, and to be honest, no other gimmick has really compared. I guess the closest you could say is probably Cyclops and something that we'll get to in a minute here, but Mood Matrix is great. Mood Matrix is awesome. I love Athena, I love Blackwell. If Ace Attorney 7 is not Athena getting her own game, then I am going to storm the Capcom building. You have the best soundtrack, you have some of the best plot points, and you have some of the best characters. What is there not to love? I'm going to be honest, I was so busy ranking the other games that I did in the past video that I forgot about Great Ace Attorney 1, which I think sums it up pretty well. Great Ace Attorney 1, I'll put a bottom of B. Now look, I get the point of the Great Ace Attorney 1. It walked so that Great Ace Attorney 2 could run. And by run, I mean fucking sprint at 100 miles an hour. Regardless of that, it still walked, and it walked at a pretty moderate pace in my opinion. The pacing is kind of all over the place because you have the first case, which is the first case, but then the second case is all investigations. Then you go into the third case, which is all trials, and then in the fourth and fifth case, they decide that you only need to do one investigation and one trial. I said that I wouldn't judge that as much, and I still won't, but the pacing is just kind of all over the place in this game. In total, you only have 2 real killers, to be honest, because, well, Kazuma lived the Russian lady, and you can't really feel bad for her because it was more of an accident. Case 3, you don't get the villain at the start. You do it more after he's dead, so you don't really get that satisfaction. You're just sad, which was the point, but it continues the trend, you know? And then in case 4, it was another accident, so it's like, okay. However, one thing that I will say the Great Ace Attorney 1 has over Spirit of Justice is when it tried new things, it succeeded. It really succeeded. The jury system is honestly really good. And you know what's even better than that? The fucking deductions, dude. Honestly, I said that the Mood Matrix is still my favorite gimmick, and that might still be true, but man, the deduction system is fighting for that title, and it is fighting hard. It is by far some of the funniest and most fun shit I have ever done in an Ace Attorney game, and I loved it. Now with the jury system, there is a small gripe, and it's that I have to do it. Usually what ends up happening in the Great Ace Attorney 1 in particular, I didn't notice it in Great Ace Attorney 2 as often, but in Great Ace Attorney 1 in particular, what would always end up happening is I already know what happened. I already know literally the entire story, and I just need to prove it. So we're going along, we're finally starting to get towards the truth, and then, oh, Judge, we've come to a decision. We're gonna all vote guilty, and now you're gonna have to waste the next 20 minutes or whatever. It got annoying. When it happened 2 times per trial, that got annoying. Now, the jury, I believe it's called the summonation examination. Oh, please don't be wrong about that. But the summonation examinations, they're really fun. They're honestly really fun. And the music is very good in that fucking section. Way better than the cross-examination theme, in my opinion. But yeah, all the things that they tried to introduce here, multiple witnesses, you have juries, you have deductions, all very good. I think it has just a few too many average cases. Spirit of Justice had overall more solid cases, and it had higher highs. This game had really good stuff, but again, it walked so that Great Ace Attorney 2 could run fast as fuck. And I respect that. And I understand that Great Ace Attorney 2 makes Great Ace Attorney 1 better, but like I said, I'm trying to judge them on their own merits. And on its own merit, Great Ace Attorney 1 is One other thing that I noticed about Great Ace Attorney 1 is that it leaves 1,000 questions open, and honestly, I am still unsure what I feel about that. I can list a giant, question that arose from all 5 of the main cases of Great Ace Attorney 1, and that's kind of strange. I'm still not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm really not. On one hand, having the Chronicles and having both games, the combined adventure is probably the best in the series. The combined adventure of Great Ace Attorney 1 and 2, and that's objectively speaking. Objectively speaking, these 2 games together is the best in the series, but I have to judge them individually. As the Chronicles, it's probably the best in the series, but I can only imagine what it must have been like in Japan. Getting this game in 2015 and having to wait 2 years to get your answers because, oh my god, were there a bunch, and I mean a bunch, of questions left to be answered. It's honestly surprising how simple this game feels, and yet it's hiding so much, and you can feel it. You can feel that they're hiding a lot. With Kazuma, with Van Zeeks, you can tell that they have ideas, and they're only explored here, and it's strange. It's really, honestly strange. But that said, The Great Ace Attorney 2 is definitely S tier. I don't care that this game relies so heavily on the first game. In America, that shouldn't even make a difference because the only way you can play it is with the Chronicles, unless you want to get a fan translation. But at this point, I don't know why you would do that, so yeah, there is no reason why you won't love the ever-living shit out of this game. If I had a nickel for every sequel to a spin-off of Ace Attorney that somehow connects everything together into the final case into one massive endgame thing that originally was only released in Japan, then I would have 2 nickels, but...
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
This game is very reminiscent of Investigations 2 in my opinion, and that is about the highest praise I could possibly give because Investigations 2 is fucking fantastic. So Great Ace Attorney 2 is fucking fantastic. You have the same ideal of just connecting everything together, except for this time it's on a 2-game scale. This game is definitely bigger than Investigations 2 because of its 2-game scale here, but whether it's better or not, well, we'll get to that. I reserve S tier for games that have no bad cases. None. At all. This game has Turnabout Samurai. We have the first case, I guess, is like just okay. We have Turnabout Big Top. We have the third case of this game. We have Speckled Band. We have the Kidnap Turnabout. We have this game. But I reserve S tier for games that have just no flaws. They're just perfect. And Great Ace Attorney 2 is perfect. All of the cases are at least B tier. They are all super good. They amp up the music even more than the original, which I didn't even know was possible, and that finale, man, was unforgettable, dude. This game truly feels like an epic, grand tale, and that's crazy because playing the first game, I was like, okay, 19th century, so I guess they have to go on a smaller scale because we don't have any forensics. No. This game is legendary, and that's all I gotta say about that. It is just superb. Now back on schedule as planned, we have Investigations 2, and rather than sing its praises for the 1000th time, I'm gonna try and compare these two a little bit. Now, these games are both very similar, as I said earlier with that Doofenshmirtz quote, but both of these games have the connection of everything together. But like I said before, I think Investigations 2, doing it on one game, is honestly more respectable. Doing it across 2 games is definitely bigger, but it's honestly just a little bit more confusing for my little monkey brain, and it's a little much, to be honest. On top of that, Investigations 2 just creates such better mysteries, in my opinion. Like I said before, Lord Strongheart is awesome, but dude, you can't beat Simon Keys. Are you kidding me? You can't beat Simon Keys, or even the Phantom for that matter. I mean, that surprise doesn't compare. Now, there was still the surprise other than the killers, right? You had the reveal that Strongheart is the Professor and the Reaper. Those were big. The fact that Clint Van Zeeks was the Professor, technically, you know how that works. That was a big deal. But Investigations 2 just felt more solid to me throughout the whole experience. I like that gameplay style more. Maybe it's some of that trilogy nostalgia. I just like Edgeworth and all the investigation characters more, you know what I'm saying? Maybe my opinion will change over time because I did just beat the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, like, not too long ago. But as of now, I think Investigations 2 will still hold that silver medal, but Great Ace Attorney 2 holds that bronze medal with pride. And finally, we still have Trials and Tribulations. Now, I would like to apologize, guys, because I lied to you in the original tier list. I'm sorry for that. I claimed that Trials and Tribulations was the perfect visual novel. And that's not true. It's not. Investigations 2 and Great Ace Attorney 2 are the perfect visual novels. And yet, there's something special about this game to me. Maybe it's because it was the first time that I was really, really blown away by an Ace Attorney game. Maybe the characters just clicked with me. Maybe it was something about how those filler cases were just so silly and lovable to me. But just everything about Trials and Tribulations is just special to me. It's the perfect combination of silliness and seriousness that I look for in a video game. That's a principle that I was grown up on with Mario and Luigi and such, and Pokemon, I guess you could say. where those games are so silly, but they're serious when they need to be, and I love those games to death. The games that can give me a good chuckle and then make me cry 10 minutes later. That is insane. Now granted, I'm not going to say that no other Ace Attorney game has done that, but I feel like Trials and Tribulations does that the best. With the Stolen Turnabout and the Recipe for Turnabout, they're just such a blast. And then everything else is just fucking incredible. I just don't know what to say. I have watched that final scene in Bridge to Turnabout more times than I can even count, and I'm sure I will end up doing the same for Lord Strongheart's Breakdown, and trust me, I've already seen that a few too many times. But I just can't get behind not putting Trials and Tribulations as my favorite. No matter how perfect these other games will get, I just can't stop thinking about that final point and the original corner theme coming in. If we're talking objectively speaking, then I would rank it like this. I think Investigations 2, objectively speaking, is the best Ace Attorney game. If you want to make the argument for Great Ace Attorney 2, then I totally understand, because it is fantastic. But I think just the different theming back in the 19th century, I can't get behind it as much as these memorable, or not memorable, they're all memorable, but these more modern characters. I think that's just my opinion, but if we're talking objectively speaking, then I think this is the list. But this isn't objectively speaking. This is my list. This is King Crew's list, and my heart will forever belong to Trials and Tribulations. And with that, we are done. That is almost 4 hours of footage. Hooray for me. I hope I was able to live up to everyone's expectations. I hope you enjoyed the video, because hell, the first video got 10,000 views, and that video kind of sucks, to be honest, nowadays, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then leave a comment, tell me what you thought, and, let's talk about it, because I'm sure you disagree on some of my points, I'm sure you agree with some of my points, so the point of this channel, honestly, the main point, is to talk about Ace Attorney, and love Ace Attorney, because regardless of what you think of my opinions, we can both agree on one thing, and that's that these games are just that of a different breed. They are quite literally built different, and they changed my life forever. They really did. The Ace Attorney games made me a different person, and I'm forever grateful to them. Even Apollo Justice. Every last one of these games is near and dear to my heart, and I will never forget the experiences that they gave me. But that's about it for me. I guess I'll see you guys for Ace Attorney 7, which better be Athena's own game, I swear to God.